Hey guys, how you doing? We are here today with theOCdrummer. Um, we got the drum kit in the background, Warcraft 3 caster, enthusiast of many things, a silky smooth voice for your Warcraft 3 viewing experience. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for all the kind words about my silky smooth voice. It gets even silkier with a couple glasses of whiskey here too.
Does it?
That's what I've been told.
That's what you've been told. Yeah, I uh, I remember like one of the first casts I watched. Uh, I don't know what it was. It was probably a GNL game, and I was just like, "Whoa, this guy could really narrate what's going on
Well,
screen."
when you don't have as much like knowledge as like Carson or Remo, you got to overcompensate with the hype, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
kind of been my approach since day one. Is if I can't bring you the top tier analysis, I'll try to at least overhype things, and it's been going well so far. I have to say.
yeah, yeah. You should do like audiobooks or something. But I guess that's not hype. You should do a hype audiobook.
Yeah. I could try. I don't know. I maybe I could do like a podcast, but I don't know like how much I could talk about or I don't know, man. Commentate another type of game too. Like, other types of hype games are like Smash Brothers or FPSs can get pretty intense, but Warcraft's kind of like a great game to commentate. It has good pacing and
Yeah,
I know a lot about it in terms of like the basics. So, it's a good match.
yeah. I think Warcraft is when I was far more active than I am now. The last time that I was in the spring, I was shoutcasting GNL matches, and it's so much fun to shoutcast Warcraft 3 games because, I mean, I guess I don't have any experience shoutcasting other things, but like it can be so zany. Like you could like such like zany shit can happen even at the pro level.
Oh yeah, and even more so, I honestly think sometimes the lower level games, like I just casted Tory versus Guns yesterday. What's today? Thursday, 2 days ago, and that series was like hype as hell, man. And sometimes you cast a game like Todd versus somebody, right? Like a really high level, and Todd will just steamroll them, or he'll get beat, and it's just not as fun or
Yeah,
entertaining, even though the gameplay is like top tier. Um, the best games to cast are the close matches, right? Where they go best of three, they go best of five, they go the distance, and there's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. No matter how many mistakes are made, those games are like the most fun to
yeah,
cast,
yeah,
and you find them at all levels, from 900 all the way up to 2400. So,
yeah. I also think like one out of every however many Warcraft games, even at the pro level, whenever you get past like the 30-minute mark or something, like it's just like the heroes are like level 6, and it's just like the dreadlord like put the infernal down. Oh my god, like I don't know. I love watching those games.
yeah, as long as it's not like a weird, wacky, everyone's camping in their base type of
Yeah, yeah, the
thing.
cubers.
Yeah, those get a little stalematey, but yeah, like you said, when the heroes get to level 6, that's when the especially when heroes on both sides are level 6, if it's not just like one guy. But it's also really exciting when a hero hits level 6, like a demon hunter or a warden, and they like just completely turn the game around. Like they were down 20 supply, and then they hit level 6 and just carry to victory. Those are exciting too.
So just like kind of random, not really that random. Did you watch that clip? I saw it on Instagram of the, let's see what they called it. Hitman with the fastest win in his Warcraft 3 career. That was a
I
great
ca-
cast by Carson.
I casted that game.
Oh, you were casting that too?
Yeah, on my own channel. So on Mondays, uh, yeah, on Mondays, Back to Warcraft's casting. I'm casting, so is Forks, right? So what we normally try to do is all three of us are trying to cast different games, and we're trying to stay out of each other's way. But sometimes we're all in the same game together because no other games are going on, and all
Right.
three of us were in that series. And honestly, that series was really painful because Hitman and I forget the guy's name were we're all in the game sitting there waiting, and they're arguing about ping, right? And
Mm.
Hitman is, Hitman's in the right because it's a America's based tournament. So it's America ping, and it's
Yeah.
his choice because he's the America competitor. And the other guy was from some other place, I think in Europe or something like that. And the guy was asking for like US East. The funniest part was actually is before, I don't know if anyone knows this, but before this guy entered the room, Todd was in there and he was going to go face Todd, I believe, in the finals because Todd had just beat Insup in the semifinals in the lower bracket.
Yeah.
So Todd comes in the room and he goes, "Hey, Hitman, do you mind playing on US East in the finals?" Assuming he's going to win because he probably is. And Hitman goes, "Sure." And then this guy comes in, and I guess he's like, I don't know, maybe he's an asshole or something. People just don't like him. And then this guy's in like the same location as Todd, and he goes, "Hey, can we play US East?" And Hitman says, "No." Like he's like, "No, we're playing West." So it was just, I'm like sitting there laughing. So they play the game, and that happens, right? He like curses off Hitman and quits. So I go and turn on back to Warcraft just to see, because Carson's got a 90-second delay like I do. So I go to tune in just to see, like, his reaction, so I'm just, like, sitting there waiting for it, and, it was pretty funny just to see how he handled it. He's just like, "Oh, well, 2-0 Hitman."
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I asked about that. Clearly, you know. Clearly, you know the inner details. I just saw it on Instagram and I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious." I
It
don't
was
know.
pretty, comical because I was talking about it on my stream. I was like, "Dude, Hitman just agreed to US East with Todd, and now he's not agreeing to it with this other dude. Like, what's the deal?" Not like I cared, but I just thought it was interesting. But I'm sure like Todd and Hitman have like some respect for each other, so he'll agree to unfavorable conditions against like Todd, right? But
Yeah.
not this guy who's just coming in, and he was honestly like pretty bad mannered like the whole time. He was being like, he's being pretty difficult when it came to figuring out how to get the game started and all that stuff. But sometimes that happens.
Let me read out what he wrote. Let me open this up back. He was pretty ridiculous. Whatever he said. I have to wait for it to. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say anything about him, but definitely some unique culture. Oh yeah, GG, play with your blank mom with this ping, like all caps, mom with this ping, like very great, like best manners, best
Yeah,
manners.
and don't forget that was literally after 10 minutes of us all sitting in this pregame lobby while they all argued about, what ping to play, and again, like, Hitman was in the right. He brought the admin and normally what happens when there's a ping disagreement is you go and play on Battle.net. You play on, like, Blizzard servers. That's normally
Yeah,
what happens.
yeah,
But,
yeah. That makes
these
sense.
rules yeah, these rules in this cup said you play if it's an America's Cup, you play on
Yeah,
America's servers, and if it's an American player or a America's player versus a non-America's player, they get to pick the host, like, it's in the rules.
right, right,
Um
right, right.
so, like, that's it, like, the discussion's over. I don't even know why, like, this guy kept arguing because it's in the rules, that's the rules. But it went on for, like, 15 minutes. This guy's, like, complaining and complaining. "Can we play on US East? Why do I have this shitty ping?" And then after we finally got started, he just quit. So, yeah, that was
Yeah,
fun.
I think it's a very. I don't know if it is, but I think it's. I'm gonna say it is. I could be wrong. I think it's a very interesting and unique dynamic that exists for this, like for Warcraft 3, where you have this community-made platform, which is global and allows for this dynamic hosting situation that like doesn't really. Maybe it does, but for all intents and purposes, doesn't really exist anywhere else. Usually, you just use company servers. The game company servers, whatever. And like even I've experienced some like awkward interactions about this. Like I'm not throwing shade at all. I'm just like this is just I was in the Fountain Manor League. Amazing, great, love Fountain Manor League. And
Yeah.
there was like one player who wasn't from America and is an American league, and I was having so much trouble like coordinating like a time to play with him. And he was I think he was kind of being a little bit unreasonable about it, but I think there was also a language barrier. And I was just like, all right, well, this is an American league, so like I would like to play on American time.
Yeah.
Like it's just weird.
That's a little more of a reasonable, uh, problem. Like,
Yeah.
the time difference is significant, and, like, no one wants to wake up at 4 AM to play. No one wants to play in the morning. Most people. Most people wanna play, like, at their sweet spot, right? Like,
Yeah.
at night, right? Like, after work or you're just chilling. And you can't do that when you're playing against a European or in Russia or anywhere like that. So I get it. But like you said, if the rules are the rules and that's what's stated, then if you enter as a competitor in the opposing region, and the same goes for if you're NA and you go play in the Europe Open Cups or the Asia Open Cups, like you got to play by those rules. That's just
Yeah.
the rules.
Yeah.
So you got to know what you're signing up for, I guess. And it sucks. No one wants to play on unfavorable conditions, and people usually try to compromise, but at the end of the day, you gotta make a decision at some point in time, and when you do, you gotta go back to the rules, right? That's why they're there, so I get it, but, you know, it is
I'm
what it is.
I'm gonna throw some shade because I like that you mentioned that. And again, I'm just kind of talking shit. I think it's funny how when NA people go to EU like tournaments and cups, the EU people are like, no, you NA like peons, you play by our rules. And then when the EU people go to NA cups, sometimes they're like, hey, play by our rules. It's like where's this balance? And I'm exaggerating. I'm exaggerating. But
Sometimes, but, like, I'll give you some good examples, like, I've casted a lot of the Americas ESL stuff. Mikael's in there, Soen's in there, Todd's in there, like, and they're all very respectable. They follow all the rules. They don't cause any controversy. So I've seen a lot of good cases of people who are very accommodating, um, and things go very smoothly with them. So I've only seen problems like very few times,
right,
and it's
right.
usually not with like top players. I guess to put it that way.
It's just the edge cases, but those are the ones that like create the people talk about them.
It's like politics, man. Like
Yeah.
you have some crazy people on both sides, and they end up somehow representing both parties, right? Like the crazy
Yeah.
people, not the sensible people like near the middle. It's like the wackos on the outside
Yeah,
end
yeah.
up being like the poster children for their respective party. It's I guess it's a similar thing with NA, EU, whatever's going on there. But I mean, all the tournaments I've casted where there's top players playing one another, it's always respectable. It's always good.
Okay, so enough about Warcraft drama. I have a question for you because I'm curious. Why did you decide to start casting and just like that whole journey? Because I remember we played together in like a GNL league. I took a pretty big break from Warcraft. I'm still pretty inactive, but and then when I came back for a bit, we got the OCdrummer cast. You're casting all the time, great cast. So I'm just curious about your like journey.
Honestly, I can't even tell you how it started. I randomly just woke up one day and I was like, "Why don't I just try this thing?" Because I'm watching. Uh, I was always watching Back to Warcraft. Carson and Bidu at the time, and Neo and Remo. Like they were all just awesome, right? It was awesome to listen to them. I was like, "Well, why don't I just try it? Like it sounds like it's fun, actually. So why don't I just give it a shot?" And if I'm gonna do it, why don't I try to bring like not a character, but like an over exaggeration, like a radio WWE style, hockey announcer style to it, to like rather than like because I listen to good commentators and I've listened to shitty ones where the shitty ones don't say anything and they just tell you what's happening. It's like, oh yeah, all right, Hunter's got him. All right, Blade Master's next. Like
Right,
that's
right,
boring,
right.
right? Like no one wants to listen to that and you're not being informative. So I was like, all right, well, why don't I just try like putting like this crazy spin on it with a crazy voice and see how it goes. And I just started with I I I think it was August 6th. That seems to be my first YouTube video, just trying GNL matches. And people in like the gym Discord like seemed to like it for whatever reason. Like I kept getting like messages about it. People kept showing up to the streams. People kept posting like messages in the Discord and stuff about like how they liked it. I think my cat's going crazy. All right, they're good. So I was like, okay, well, I guess people like this, so I'll keep trying it. And then the Warcraft, the W3C Season 7 tournament was happening right around that time. So I applied for it. I was like, all right, well, I'll just go apply for it. And I got accepted like right away. And then right around that time, Bidu, this was before like all the stuff that happened. He was on his stream. He was like watching my VODs like on his stream. I'm like, why is this?
Oh.
I'm like, why is this guy like watching me? Like, and he's like talking me up. He's like, oh, this guy's awesome. I love his voice. So like Bidu was saying like a lot of great things about me, and I'm not gonna lie, like that got me motivated to keep going. So because he was on Back to Warcraft, he was a big figure in the scene.
Right.
I was like, "Oh, man, well, like, if this guy, he's on Back to Warcraft, he thinks I'm good, I must be half decent at least, so I'm gonna keep going." And then the, Season 7 tourney happened, and, honestly, this was amazing and terrible at the same time. The times were posted on, like, the Liquipedia or something. It said, like I think it said, like, 1300 EST, I think, and I mistook that for Eastern Standard Time. It was actually, like, European Standard Time. And
What?
that converted to, like, 3 AM my time. I didn't even know that. So the first day I said I would show up, I was asleep. And I wake up to Discord and Grinchy, who I didn't even really know at the time. I didn't even know he was involved in this. I didn't even know who he was. Grinchy is messaging me. He's like, "Hey man, you around for this game, you around for that game, you around for that game." So he's like checking in on me like hour after hour to see if I'm ready to cast games because like Back to Warcraft's casting the A stream and I was going to be casting the B stream. So I woke up like 5 hours later after the tournament started. I was like, "Oh my god, like I totally misread the time zones." And then I was like, "Well, fuck it, man. I gotta do this. Like, I'm gonna wake up the next morning at 3 a.m." I had like prior commitments that night. I was going out with friends that night. I got home at like midnight or like 12:30. I was like, "Screw it, man. Like, I'm gonna give this thing a shot. I'm gonna wake up at 3 a.m. I'm gonna get 2 hours of sleep, and I'm gonna try to cast this thing." And it was incredible. Like, I woke up at 3 in the morning, it's pitch black outside. It's the first time I ever casted, like, professionals. I think I started with, like, Sock versus Soin, which is, like, a dream match, right, in
Yeah.
Warcraft 3. And the level I'm going from, like, casting 1,200 people, like, where I used to be, forgetting macro, leaving items on the ground, taking 3 seconds to move your units in between creep camps. These guys make no mistakes. The pace of play is so fast, and I'm like, I'm trying to just keep up with everything that's going on, and I can't really give advice because they're so much better than me.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's just it's such a different style of casting at that level because in GNL, I can be like, "Oh, well, you missed this, you missed that. You might want to do that next time."
Right.
And
The
then I'm
mistakes are
casting
obvious.
yeah, and then in this, like, it's so far above my head, so over my head, I can't even, like, comprehend what's going on half the time. I'm just kinda, like, doing play by play. So that went through, and that was awesome, and then Back to Warcraft actually hosted me that day with 1,700 viewers or something crazy like that, for, like, the finals of that day. So that all ended, right? And then so now I'm at, like, the peak of casting. I went from, like, GNL to having 2,000 viewers on the stream in, like, 3 weeks. And then, alright, so now everything's done. Like, GNL's done, War 3 Champions is done, there's nothing left to cast. So I'm like, "Well, shit, what do I do now?" So I just went on Liquipedia, I talked to Neo, I, went on War 3 Info, and I just literally applied for, like, every tournament I could possibly cast. I applied for 4 Players Cup, I applied for ESL, I applied for, like, 2 other tournaments as well. I was like, "Well, screw it, I'm just gonna try to apply for as many things as I can to try to keep this casting thing going because I seem to be, like, doing pretty good." So that 4 Players Cup, I started casting those on Friday mornings, those were great. And then ESL finally applied me. I had to, like, reach out to, like, every admin to get, like, my name
Dude,
to be
they didn't
validated.
yeah, like I applied to them too. This was a couple weeks after you, and they like soft rejected me or something. They told me they were restructuring. And I kept like messaging them and I just gave up and I was like, "All right, I guess I can't cast ESL."
Well, I guess that turned into, like, they're not doing it anymore, so that kinda makes sense,
Right,
but,
right, right.
dude, I
You
literally
got lucky
messaged
with that one then, eh?
I got in right at the right time.
Yeah.
I was in their Discord, I just messaged every admin in the channel. I was like, "Hey, can you help me with my app?" can you help me with my app? And then this guy would say, message this guy, and then I
That's
would
what they
message
told me
him.
too.
Yeah, and then they would say, message this guy, and I messaged them, and I messaged this guy, and I finally got to, like, the end of the chain, right? And I finally got to the guy. I don't even remember who it was at this point, that said, "All right, you're approved." And the week I was approved was actually the week Back to Warcraft wasn't casting it. So I
Oh,
so I ended up
I
getting, like,
remember that. I remember
150,
that.
200 viewers because I was, like, the only English
I watched that
caster
stream.
casting
I
it.
watched that stream.
Yeah, so that was awesome. And then Carson invited me to do a Back to Warcraft, and then I got approved to cast DreamHack, the closed qualifiers, which was just myself. So I did that, and then Neo reached out to me to cast the DreamHack finals with him and Carson, which was just absolutely incredible. So I got to cast with Carson and Neo on DreamHack, like the biggest Warcraft 3 tournament there is, which was just incredible. And now all of that's in the past. DreamHack's done for all intents and purposes, except for the LAN in Sweden, which I don't know what's going on with that. So I decided I got to figure something else out to do now. ESL's about to end. Everything's about to be over except for Players Cup. So I decided to start Fight Night. I figured that'd be pretty cool, and I wanted to bring like some of the production value of DreamHack into GNL with webcams and winner interviews, and it's been fun. We get like 40 to 80 viewers a night, which is cool, and it's just a great time to see people competing. You get to form some sort of like relation with them because you can actually see them playing, you see them frustrated, you see them celebrating. So it's kind of cool just to see 900 players to it's up to 1700, I guess, just see their webcams, and it looks a little more highly produced, and it's been fun. So that's kind of like the quick and dirty, I don't know, 4 months
Dude,
of
that I gotta
testing.
say, that was eloquent. Thank you for going through that. That was way better. Not that I was like going to expect a response, but I was like, all right, this guy, that was great. It was a great description.
Well, thank you. It's also recent, so it's easy, but
Yeah.
I mean, the best parts have been seeing how Back to Warcraft operates behind the scenes, seeing all the work Neo does, and you don't even know this, but like when we're in those DreamHack casts with me, Carson, and Neo, Remo is in those calls. Like Remo is in the call too. He's working his ass off, getting people in the call, setting things up. They
He's
have like a
he's doing the
clean,
behind the scenes.
yeah. He's working behind the scenes, and he's not even on the stream, right?
Yeah.
They're setting up clean feeds for people, so me and Carson can kind of watch the feed in real time because there's like a 3-minute delay on the Twitch stream, right? So we can
Right.
actually see what's going on and see what Neo is showing on the screen. Neo's doing all the transitions, he's doing all the pre-production work, getting all the imagery set up. You name it, there's just so much effort that goes into all of that behind the scenes that I got a glimpse into. And not to mention, like, the War 3 Champions tournament, like, all those got like, Carson and Bidu at the time, like, they wake up at 4 AM just like I do. Like, it's fucking crazy,
Yeah.
how early these guys are waking up so frequently too, to do all this casting. They do it because they love it, and I got a glimpse into that. I was like, "Wow, man." I don't think everyone gets the credit they deserve for how much work they actually put into this stuff. I don't think it's
It's a
really
real job.
seen.
It's a real fucking
It
job.
it is. It
That's why
definitely
that's
is.
why that's why it's all they do.
Yeah, it's incredible, and they're just so great. Like they've been supporting me every step of the way. They've hosted me countless times. They've had me on their platform, invited me to DreamHack. They're so supportive of the community, and I think anytime anybody can show them some love or show them support for all that they've done over the past decade and a half for the scene, for the game, um, it's all worthwhile because they just pour their hearts and souls into this. It's not seen from the outside in, but when you're on the inside out, you get to
Yeah.
get a glimpse into it. It's crazy how much work that they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a little bit of an impression of it. I think I've done it's a shame. I should have done one more podcast before this. Cuz this is the 49th podcast.
Oh man,
My my podcast with Neo was one of my favorite just cuz Neo is like so fucking fun to talk to, dude. Like great guy. Love him.
Yeah, he's you would describe it like he's a guy you wanna go out and have a beer with, right? Like, he's
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah, if you were visiting him in Germany, where I think he's living, like, anybody, could go out with Neo, have a time of your life, talking for 4 or 5, 6 hours at a pub, drinking beer all night and have an amazing time. He's very respectful, very nice, very understanding. He's very relatable. He's just a normal guy, man, who just loves the game, and he's a hard ass worker. Uh, and when you combine all those things together, that's just what he is. And he's very genuine. He's very authentic. He's not fake, and
Yeah,
people really
yeah.
like that. And that's why I think he's just one of those guys that is just he's just a gem. He's a diamond in the rough.
So I gotta respond to some of the things that you said. 'Cause I didn't want to interrupt you. You know, you were going through your thing. Um, I think what you're doing is fucking great, especially things like Fight Night. Like that's fucking sick, dude. I honestly I've been pretty inactive for the pit for the past like 6 months because I have my own journey. And when I saw that you were starting to do casting, and this is my take, and this is my like light suggestion, especially because you said like, oh, DreamHack's ending, ESL's ending, so like gotta find like something to do now, right? Like kind of ballpark. The YouTube, bro. Focus on the YouTube. Focus on the YouTube. Like, and when I saw that you were posting, like you started casting, and I watched like your GNL trailer. I watched your fucking what was the other thing? There was something else that was sick. I think it was just like your trailer, which I'm looking at your channel right now. I can't find it. Your the other thing was like, oh, the theOCdrummer trailer. Oh, that was sick, dude. That was amazing. The ultimate Warcraft 3 tier list. I've been doing Warcraft 3 for 2 years. 2 years and a half. 2 years and a half. And I've had like a weird journey where like as we all have, I've played the game for like 10, 15 years. And then I came back because of Reforged. I did custom games first, and then I got into Melee because custom games kind of died. All I gotta
Yeah.
say is, and it should be pretty clear, especially if you look at like Back to Warcraft's YouTube. Warcraft 3 YouTube is like very much so an alive beast. So I would definitely keep doing your YouTube thing. That is sick content. I love it. Yeah.
No, I completely agree, and that's why I try to be as quick as I can, like clipping Twitch highlights into YouTube and getting them onto YouTube and getting like a foothold over there. Because I don't know if you've listened to like Tim the Tap Man or Doctor Disrespect now. Like they have moved over to
Right. Yeah. They
YouTube.
all do YouTube now.
Yeah. And what a part of the thing Tim the Tapman said was just the raw amount of viewers. The audience is just so much larger on YouTube. So the potential is so much bigger on YouTube than it is on Twitch. And you could see that with the amount of people that watch VODs on YouTube, that tune into all the different types of content there. So you definitely have a really good point, and it's something I continue to do, but it's hard to figure out like how to innovate Warcraft 3 content because it's so old, like, it's 20 years old. People have done almost every permutation of something you can think of, but, the tier list was like a no-brainer. I see people do tier lists everywhere, so that was fun. It was just fun and comical and whatever. So I'm trying to think about, like, what's next, right? Like, what could be really funny and enjoyable in a YouTube format, but also has the Warcraft 3 theme? It could be, like, comedy sketches of some sort, like,
You could always hit
let's
me up, bro. I would love to. I would love. I'm so big on YouTube. Like the funny thing about my Warcraft 3 experience now is the only thing that I have left that just like continues to like grow is my YouTube. I would love that, bro. You do your YouTube thing. I think that's great. I think that's
And what do you think? Like, I remember you mentioned something about YouTube Shorts were highly pushed by the algorithm. Are you seeing like success with Shorts more so than long form content? Like, what are you kind of seeing?
so. I'll try to be as concise as possible. So I'll do a little in June. Unfortunately, I just was like evaluating my life, and I've been doing this like I was doing this content creation thing as like my full-time thing, and I had a part-time job, and I was like, all right, I gotta get a real job. Like, no offense to Warcraft 3, but I probably got to focus on other things in life. And for the past 6 months, I've been doing all sorts of things in like regearing my content, experimenting with different stuff, looking for a job, etc. YouTube Shorts is interesting. I think you make a separate channel. Now, here's the thing
Mm.
about YouTube Shorts. For you, I think if you have a channel with no like established audience, and an established audience, I would say is, excuse me, even like 500, 500 subscribers, like actual like active subscribers, is your like bare minimum for an established audience. Do
Mm.
YouTube Shorts, just fuck around with it, try it. Um, Now let's say you're back to Warcraft. It makes they they needed to make that separate channel, that Back to Warcraft
Right.
Shorts channel for sure. Um, I think you should mess around with it. I don't know if Warcraft 3 has a huge audience for shorts, but it's worth experimenting with because after all, we got Art of Warcraft doing the Back to Warcraft clips. So like there is some precedent. Um yeah. Oh, and I'm a I I don't actually drink that much, and when you were like, "Oh, I'm pouring a glass of whiskey," I'm a little drunk. I'm a little more drunk. I poured a couple shots of rum. I hope I'm
Nice.
making sense. I think I am. I think I am.
No, it's all good. This is how the real content comes out. Like now
Yeah,
everyone's loosened up. You just talk about what you got to talk about. And I actually I'm gonna be due to refill this glass soon. But
I love it.
it's all good. And I totally get what you're saying about the shorts and making a different channel if you have a certain threshold of followers. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
So
But I was
you could
thinking
definitely
about it.
mess
Yeah.
around with it. You could definitely mess around with it.
Yeah,
I would suggest.
and I'm thinking about like what Warcraft content outside of casting would be appreciated, right? And I don't know. It's tough. There's tier lists, but how many tier lists can you make, right? Like I've exhausted it, right? It's what do you do? Maps?
I don't know,
Maps
bro.
aren't as
Okay, okay.
like maybe.
I'm gonna give you 5 channels, and I'm not gonna suggest like copying them. I'm just gonna say, all right, we have Back to Warcraft. That's obvious. That content format, you know that very well. You watch their streams. You contribute to their videos, etc. Witty, just like look at Witty's channel. And here's the thing about Witty: he does custom games. So you're not gonna do custom games. You don't need to look at the custom games, but he also does melee content. And
Mhm.
Witty, I think, is the best Warcraft 3 content creator, like, in cahoots. Not that they're working together, but, like, it's Back to Warcraft and Witty. And
Right.
that's just the best you got. There's this channel called Funny Warcraft 3. Now, I have to open up their channel just to remind myself. This channel is so I'm being a little disrespectful when I say this, but this channel is so weird. But it's so good. I don't watch it because I don't fucking care. Like, no disrespect. That's why I'm saying I'm giving a little bit of disrespect. But, like, they posted a video 2 weeks ago. Archimond versus 350 Crypt Fiends. 37K
Oh yeah.
views.
I see
It's
that. Yeah, holy shit.
so
I'm looking at it.
that's just what I was saying. Like, the Warcraft 3 YouTube audience is like this gigantic niche bubble where you can have these like weird channels like Funny Warcraft 3. And I'm not suggesting that you do anything that's like that weird, but like you could definitely carve out, like, you could do fight nights, right? And you could, like, I don't know, man, you could do Art of Warcraft style clip edits of fight night. I don't like there's an audience. There's an audience for sure. I would definitely take a look at channels like Back to Warcraft Witty, Funny Warcraft 3, There's a couple other games.
Yes, guy's 85,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I
Funny
think it's
Warcraft 3.
Easy Warcraft 3 is the other, like, and now it's not loading.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't think I've seen this guy's videos before.
Yeah, Warcraft
2.9 million views, one
yeah,
human versus 11 insane computers.
right? It's just like it's just this like zany it's like this zany stuff, dude. Like, but there's so many people who watch it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And like he posts like pretty frequently. And he's not the only person that does this. There's like 4 channels that do this. I think Easy Warcraft 3 is one of them. For some reason my YouTube is down, which I've never had happen before. There we go.
Easy Warcraft 3.
I could be totally wrong, and Easy Warcraft 3 is not. Maybe that's a. All right, Oh no, Easy Warcraft 3 is a thing. He's just not as big as I thought he was. I guess that's how he got me. Easy
Oh, here
Warcraft
he
3
is.
does
Yeah.
some stuff though. He has like 600 subs. I think he might do more stuff on like Twitch.
Yeah, I see his Twitch link in his videos broadcasted. Looks like he just like
Yeah, but
highlighted
like
him.
if you all right, so if you go to his channel, maybe I should link this in the chat or something. And you go to like most popular, and he has like this video from like 3 years ago, which is like Warcraft 3, like fast Griffin strategy playing human. So like Easy Warcraft 3 is like kind of like a small channel for. It could give you some ideas. I don't think you're gonna do like what he does, but there's the Warcraft 3 YouTube scene is like the Warcraft 3 Twitch scene is actually pretty big.
Yeah, it's dedicated. Like when there's people playing Warcraft 3, they show up all the time. So if you stream on Twitch when like I'll give you some big name streamers, right? If
Yeah,
Insup is not streaming or Todd or Back to Warcraft or Hitman or Grubby, right? When
yeah,
he does stream Warcraft, if they're all not streaming, you have a real chance to get like 10 to 30 viewers in your stream just by default, just because no one else big is streaming at the time. And there's
dude,
dedicated viewership.
so true, man. I learned this in May. If you stream at like 5 a.m., you get 80 viewers.
Yeah.
Like, if you can get 15 viewers, that like there's nobody else streaming, and it's like this weird
Mhm.
like NAEU time like gap. And yeah, no, you're totally right about that.
Yeah, and then you're at the top of the category, and then when people are looking for something to watch because they want to watch Warcraft 3, they don't care who it is, they just want to watch something Warcraft 3, you're at the top, and you attract all the viewers until one of the big names signs on, then, then they all go dump into there. But if you can figure out a way to, like, captivate them and give them something to look forward to, whether it's casting or you're a high-level player or you're entertaining, you can retain them, right? So if you can retain your users somehow, they'll come back and watch. And I've seen that on my stream on fight nights, for example. Like it's not like there's a ton going on Tuesday nights, but we're polling 40 to 80 viewers. A lot of it's GNL people, but some of it's not, right? And even if someone like Insup is streaming at the same time, we'll still pull 40 to 80 viewers, right? So people are interested and they will come back to watch because they came to one of my streams one night at 10 p.m. when no one else was streaming. Like, oh, this is interesting. I'll tune in again. They hit the follow button, and before you know it, they show up. And the real time when you're getting somewhere is when you have Back to Warcraft on and Hitman's on and Insup's on, and you still have 10 viewers, you still have 15
Yeah,
viewers,
true,
then you're like,
true.
"Oh, okay, like, all
That
right,
is such a
now I'm getting
fucking good
somewhere."
point. That is such a
Because
good point.
because when they sign off, then you have 50 or 60 or 70 viewers, right? But, like, when they're on and you can still pull a decent amount, that means you're starting to make an impact, and if you keep going, keep pushing, keep grinding, eventually people will prefer you over them, right? Not to say they're bad content, they're incredible content, but people end up building like relationships with streamers because they watch them. And then eventually you get preferred over the big guys. And then before you know it, you have 30 viewers, then 50, then 60, then 100. Insup and Back to Warcraft and Hitman, they all started at 0. Everyone starts at 0, right? So it's like, what differentiated
Besides
them
the
from the
OC
pack?
drummer, besides the OC drummer
Well,
starts at 17,000.
I had GNL
I'm just kidding.
and
I'm just kidding.
everyone. I had GNL basically packing my streams right when I
Yeah,
first started. So
that's
I
how we
would
all
just
start.
yeah, I type in the Discord, "Hey, I'm streaming this random match." Well, it's like Soft Ice Cream versus Prism or something like that, right? And then boom, I turn the stream on and there's 15 people in there and they're all from the Discord. But that's really helpful because then other people join the stream and then other people who normally wouldn't have found me at one viewer, I'm now up here. They come in, they hit follow, they view it again and view it again and you know, before you know it, you have some sort of following and what do I have? 800 followers now. So before I started GNL casting, I had 0.
Yeah,
There you go.
you got to turn the fight night into YouTube content. I'm totally down to help you out, like in any way, like thumbnails or whatever. But I think you got to do that. I don't know if it'll work, but
I clipped the matches. The matches are clipped.
yeah, like okay, my example for like, it's just the perfect example is Art of Warcraft. Like Art of Warcraft
Mm.
is like, oh yeah. So I said, oh, these are like 5 like YouTube channels, and I think I said 3, and the other 2 that I didn't go through but were in my head were Art of Warcraft and which you obviously know, and Grubby, which you obviously know. And it's like if you
Mhm.
take like what is it? Back to Warcraft, Witty, like Funny Warcraft 3 and channels like Funny Warcraft 3, Grubby and Art of Warcraft, then like if you combine those 5 and like there's something in between that you can do that people will watch. Cuz
Yeah.
they all have 100,000 subscribers besides Art of Warcraft. Or 80,000 subscribers, let's say. But Art of Warcraft has 80,000 subscribers in spirit because his fucking videos are so good.
They should. He should have 100,000 subs. His videos
Yeah,
are incredible.
his videos are incredible.
I watch his content as filler content on my stream when I'm waiting for matches to start. And I think it gets better reactions on my stream than my casting half the time because the videos are so good.
Yeah. Yeah, Art of Warcraft is a cool guy too. Okay, I had a question that I forgot to ask before. Did you buy your microphone? Did you have it before you started casting?
No.
Oh,
I
so
use I use this.
you picked that up pretty quickly then.
This is what I used before I
Right,
started
right, right,
casting.
right. The
This thingy.
snowball, yeah.
Yeah. So I had this, and the reason I had this was because this headset I have it has a mic, it has like a thing attached to it. It has like a thing that comes out.
Yeah.
It broke one night when I was playing some sort of game. I like put my headset I put like my headset here and my cat jumped up, like knocked the thing off, and the thing it didn't snap, but it just like broke just enough to not hear it anymore. So while I was getting a replacement shipped from HyperX or whatever this company is, I think it's HyperX. I bought this blue microphone just so I could talk to people. I think I was playing Fortnite or something at the time.
I love it.
So I've always had this blue microphone just sitting here, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna try casting these games. I think the blue microphone is better quality than this little thing that comes out of this headset.
Yeah, it
I
probably
started
is.
using that. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I started using that, and then I was like, all right, well, what does like Carson use? Because his voice always sounds like it has like that robust, has good bass, just has
Yeah,
good
yeah,
presence,
yeah.
has good good presence. It's like, well, what does he use? And I looked online. I was like, oh my god, this shit's expensive. But I
It's
was
it's
just
it's
in
it's worth it if
yeah,
you're willing to spend the money. Like it's
yeah,
yeah.
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 But it was one of those things like I'm going all in or I'm not gonna try it at all.
I think
So
I think it was a good
that's
call.
where I
I think
did
it was
it.
a good call. Like,
Yeah, so it was
yeah.
all at the same time. I'm gonna sign up for every tournament. I'm gonna buy the equipment and just see what happens. Worst case, I sell it. Right? Worst
Right,
case, it
yeah.
doesn't work out. I sell it and I make what 80% of my money back. Big effing deal. Best case, it works out. And so far, it's been pretty cool. Like a lot of people have been gifting subs. I had uh, Nega Nebulous gifted 20 subs last stream.
Let's
I've
go.
I've had
That's
people donating
$100. Or I
yeah
guess
50
they do
bucks.
local pricing.
Yeah, $50, $20, $20, like random donations coming. So it's almost paid for itself. But it's not even really about that. It was just about like doing something that's fun. And like when I turn my stream on, will 20 people show up regardless of what time it is and regardless of what's going on? And so far that answer's been pretty much yes. And that's awesome, right? Like I've done something that's at least caused entertainment to 20 people, right? So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat and not something I had before. And if I can keep it going and trying to, I don't know, innovate where I can or do different styles or different types of games even because I don't know, maybe this could turn into casting Rocket League or Halo
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, you know what I mean? And those games draw huge numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you never know. So just
I,
just having fun, seeing what happens.
I definitely got to say, because I watch your streams, and one thing that you do, which I'm like, I gotta congratulate, and I gotta be like, or at least this is just like my take, like, keep doing this, because this was something that I learned was a mistake over, because like I had like my peak of streaming like a year ago. So I had like my peak of streaming. I was doing custom games more so for like 6 months where I was like in this like getting like 60 viewers like pretty regularly, like playing custom games, whatever. And my big mistake, which I learned later, was not being like, yo guys, follow me on Twitter. Check out my
Mm,
YouTube. That you have to do that. Keep doing that.
mhm.
That
Yeah,
is that is that is very smart and very necessary for what you're saying, like expanding to other things, you know?
yeah, it was actually Baron who told me that too, and he's like, "Dude, you need a Twitter." I was like, "I hate Twitter. Like, the last place I wanna be on is Twitter."
Nah, Warcraft Twitter is sick, bro. Warcraft Twitter is so wholesome.
No, Warcraft Twitter's fine, just Twitter in general. Like, I was like, "I just hate Twitter." The
Really? That's all
literally, the
right. That's
last place I
fair.
wanna be is Twitter, right? So but he's
Wow,
telling me, he's like,
you're a Twitter hater.
"I guess, yeah, I guess." I guess you could say that, but he's like, "Dude, if you wanna, like, retain people and bring them back, like, you need to have a Twitter, you gotta have a YouTube, you gotta have branding, all that shit." So I was like, "Alright, well, I guess I'm gonna have to," if I like I said before, if I'm gonna go all in, I gotta go all in. So I got the Twitter, it feels cringy sometimes, like, "Hey, smash that follow
Nah, nah, you gotta
button.
embrace it,
Hit
bro.
me
You gotta
here, hit me
embrace it.
here, hit
You
me
gotta
here."
embrace it.
Like, it feel like
Yeah,
my inner self's like, "Oh, that's so cringe," but you're right, like, you're absolutely right.
yeah.
You wanna retain people, you want people to know when you're going live or what you're up to, like, it's necessary. You have to do it.
I feel the same
So I
way.
get it.
I get the same cringe like every time in the past, every time I would say it, I would cringe a little bit, but eventually you just get used to it and it's like, "Oh, you know what? I have to do this." I mean, like look, like Back to Warcraft does it, right?
You have to, you
You have
have
to do
to.
it.
Every top stream you ever watch with 100K subs, 1,000,000
Yeah.
subs, whatever, they're all saying it at the
Yeah.
beginning, in the middle, at the end, and now they're doing this stuff where they, like, stop the middle of the whatever they're showing on YouTube. It's like, "Hey, did you know that 20% of people who are watching or, sorry, like 80% of people who are watching aren't subscribed? If you hit subscribe now, you get this." Like, they'll put that in the middle of the video. It's crazy.
Dude, I the first time I saw that, I was like, "Are you really doing this?"
Yeah.
Like that was that you're that I think that's like some next level like YouTube weirdness where it's like you have enough viewers where you can say, "Yo guys, like 80% of you aren't subscribed." And it's just like it doesn't like people still watch. Like what the fuck? Yeah, nah, that's so true.
Well, I think what you said is true. It works. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of people and I've been victim of this myself. I'll watch a video I love and I won't hit the like button. And it's not because I don't like it. It's just because like I got at the end of that video, I get presented with another video that I really am interested in, and I'm sitting there like eating chips on the couch or like
Yeah.
eating something at the kitchen table, and I have it on. So like I don't have a free hand to like hit the like button, nor am I even thinking about it. I'm just like, oh, that was actually really nice, but here's a cool video too. And if they tell me to do it, I'll actually, like, go touch it. I'll touch the like button. But if they don't, I'll often forget about it. So, like, I'm the own victim in the game I hate. So
Yeah,
it's like being a software engineer where there's a
yeah.
saying. I
Here
don't know
we
if you've heard of
go.
this saying. Yeah, in software engineering, there's a T-shirt that's made. It says, "Debugging code is like being a investigator at the scene of a murder where you're the murderer." Right? That's what debugging code is like. It's
that's
like
that's hilarious.
yeah, and now I feel it's like a similar thing with like telling people to hit the like button. Like I'm a
Yeah.
victim of my own game because I'm not hitting the like button. So all of these other people got to tell you to hit the like button. And I'm the reason that they're telling you to hit the like button because I'm not hitting it. So it's, you
That's
know,
beautiful.
that's how that goes.
Do you want to grab another glass of whiskey? I know you
I
said that
will.
a
I
little bit.
will. Yeah, you want to take a 2-minute break?
Yeah, let's take a little break. Let's and this is a good time to ask the audience if you guys have any questions. Think about your questions now.
Yeah, man. Do I have an emote I can use? Let me see. Here we go. I got a new emote. I love this emote. It's
All
my
right,
Halloween
let's see it.
costume.
Oh yeah, it's your profile picture. I was trying to
It
figure out what
was, yeah.
that was. I guess now that I'm clicking it, it's
It's Ric
oh,
Flair.
it's Ric Flair.
Yeah. Why does Blue Yoshi? Oh, this one over here.
I noticed that. I was like, wow, you have the want to Yoshi. That's pretty
I have
crazy.
a green one here too.
I love that.
But the green one's on my desk. The blue one is over there. I can go into that a little later. I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. What's up, guys? Thank you for watching. This is my one stream a month. I just want to let you know that maybe we only have 9 viewers, but you guys are all so very important. Ironically, as we've mentioned, more people will watch this on YouTube. So this is to the YouTube people too. I have been doing well, even though I haven't been streaming. Bro, we got featured in magazines, dude. I'm in magazines now. Want to? Let's go, baby. I posted a video about Skrillex, and all these famous people keep tweeting it, and I'm like, let's go, baby. Yeah, let's go, baby. Dude, concerts, I'm so fucking like I this is a whole rant. Concerts they're the security guards, bro. Like they don't let you bring shit in. You know how much I have to work to go to a concert and like record the concert and like get good footage without like security guards like harassing me. It's such a fucking pain. It's just New York, I guess. I had to buy a new camera cuz I went to a show last night and I had my gimbal and a security guard like came up to me and was like, "Yo, bro, like where's your media pass? Like you got to check that." And I was like, "All right, whatever, fair." So I got it looks like less of a camera. I think I'm gonna play Warcraft again soon. I go in phases. I have to get a job first a little bit. I have it, I gotta get a job first a little bit. Yeah, no, okay. So what's beautiful about this is a huge tangent. Is so I go to these shows and I have like my point and shoot camera, and sometimes they give me shit for it just because it looks like a camera, and it's like it's totally within their rules. Like it shouldn't. It's like the same as my phone. It's just my phone's battery doesn't die. It's a little better. But it has stabilization built into it. Kaiser has this. Kaiser recommended. So could be pretty big for concerts. Yeah, I've learned it really depends on where you are. Like I think if you're in New York City, for instance, there's a history of paparazzi. There's a history of paparazzi behavior, so they're a little bit more strict about cameras. Welcome back.
Hey, how are you? I got a full glass here.
Yeah, all right.
If
You got a
if
full glass.
Insup's watching, I'll do a shot with him.
Does Insup ever not drink on stream?
I don't think so. I'll message him right now and say, "Hey, I'm
No,
doing a podcast. I'll do a shot with you right now."
no, do it, do it. He would love
Uh,
that. He would love
let me
that.
close this door.
Oh yes, questions too. I should have reinforced that.
All right, let's find a stream. Oh, Wantu's gonna pour up too. There we go.
Yeah,
Speaking of Wantu, I don't know if anyone knows this. He is a connoisseur of good video games.
He is.
He's one of the few people I know that has as much respect for Super Mario RPG as I do, and I don't think I have anything here to show for it, unfortunately. But I have Super Mario RPG on this. I still got the original controllers,
Wow. Wait, is
right?
that for the Super Nintendo?
Yep, for the Super Nintendo.
How old are you? If that's fair to
32.
ask. I think the Super
32.
Nintendo is a generational thing. Cause I'm 26, right? And the Super Nintendo, I think, was already like out of fashion or something. And literally nobody I know has ever played it. And I'm not exaggerating.
Oh,
I think like literally nobody I know has ever played it.
it's one of the best RPG games out there. I really think it is. And not out that's not my opinion. Like a lot of people think
Wait,
this.
there's an RPG. Wait, what? I've never even heard of this.
Super Mario RPG.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
that's
I
the game.
have.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
I
where
remember this. I remember this. I have heard of
that's
this,
that's where all of
but
Wantu's
I've never played it.
emotes that character Boshi or Boshi,
Right.
it's from that game.
Right. All
He's
right.
a he's a character in the game who races you. You're Mario, and you end up like meeting Yoshi on his island, and Boshi or Boshi, whatever his name is, wants to race you, and you have to beat him in a race to get I forget what item you get from beating him, but you get some sort of nice item from it. But he's like
I
a
vow
evil
to
Yoshi.
do a Super Mario RPG stream one day, just cause clearly I should have played it.
Yeah, and Wantu makes a good point. Like the N64 came out like right around when Super Mario RPG came out, so like people had moved on. But unfortunately, like one of the best Super Nintendo games ever came out right at that time. It's really good. I go back and play it all the time. I literally just did another playthrough
Yeah.
like 5 months ago. I usually end up going back to that game like every year or two. I do like a
Huh.
playthrough of that. I do Ocarina of Time. I do like Super Mario 64. I used to do speed runs of Super Mario 64.
Let's go.
Yeah,
My
dude.
brother used to be really into that.
Those are really cool streams to watch too.
Okay, I have a question. Have you played Paper Mario?
Yes,
Do you
I
think
have.
now I just looked at screenshots of Super Mario 64, like I've looked at I remember because I asked one two about this and I looked before. Do you think Paper Mario is like the spiritual successor to Super Mario 64? Because it seems like it kind of has similar vibes.
It's supposed to be the spiritual successor to, ironically, Super Mario RPG. It
Or
was
oh, sorry,
originally
Super Mario
called.
RPG. Yes, that's what I meant.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. It's supposed to be. That's kind of what their goal was.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense.
It used to be called Super Mario RPG 2. It was like its old title. It's
Huh?
not as good.
Oh,
Not as good, but
you don't like Paper Mario?
I like it. It's just not as good.
It's
But
just
like it's like comparing like one of the best games ever made to like a great game. It's a great game. It's just not as good. That's all. There's nothing wrong with it.
all right. Well, now I definitely have to play Super Mario RPG because this is compounding hype. I love Paper Mario, and clearly I'm not getting the clearly I haven't played the real thing. The Axum
Oh, it's
Rangers.
you know about that? Are they in Paper Mario, the Axum Rangers?
No, I'm just on the RPG wiki.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's actually when I was younger, that fight was hard. Now that
Yeah.
I'm older, I understand like how RPGs work and like how to actually play them. The game's not too bad. It's not too hard. But back when I was like 12 years old or however old I was, oh my god, that shit was rough. Really rough. It's probably the hardest fight in the game.
Really?
Be- because it's the first time you play against like 5 people.
Huh.
It's like the Power Rangers, right? So there's 5 of them. It's not like you have your 3 characters versus 1 guy where you can like, you could resurrect your dead people and heal them up. You have like chances to do that. Because every time you attack 3 times, they attack 5 times. So
Mm.
you like it's a
Right.
whole different like strategy involved. and like when you're young, you don't think about like I should kill the healer first, right? Like you
Ah,
don't
so
think
so
about
so
that stuff.
so it plays like Final Fantasy.
Yeah, well, it's made by
Ah.
Square. It's made by Square
Oh, that's
Enix.
fucking sick.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
sick.
partnership. Yeah, it was made by and there's a Final Fantasy boss in the game. I'm not even gonna spoil it for you.
Yeah, no
I'll
spoilers.
let
I'm
you
definitely playing this now. Definitely playing
I'll
this
let
now.
you play it in the game, but it's made by the same company, Square. I think they were just called Square back then. And there's a Final Fantasy hidden boss in the game. That's the hardest boss in the game. And I'll let
Huh.
you find him for yourself. If you play Final Fantasy, all the games, you'll probably know who it is.
Huh. Damn, that's cool.
I didn't know who it is. I was like, this guy's impossible to beat back in the day. And now like I'm capable of beating this boss, but back in the day it was impossible. Like when I was 12, there was no shot.
Right.
So yeah, man, I highly recommend it. It's a great game.
Okay. Wantu says, "Let's play a drinking game." I don't know. I don't know what
Okay.
he suggests with that. And then Oxygen had a question,
Oh,
and I think you kind of answered it earlier, but he may not have been here. Maybe you didn't directly answer it. Do you talk in normal life like you cast, or is it some kind of persona?
And his
how
name
I'm
is
talking to
John
you
C.
now
Wait. Can you say that one more time? My raid notification is too loud.
Oh, no problem. How I'm talking to you now is pretty much how I talk in real life. So if if this if this is what people think I sound like when I cast, then they are one and the same. But I definitely bring an extra level of like emphasis to trying to sound like a broadcaster when I cast, if that makes sense. Like I try to emphasize it and I don't know what the right word is, but
You do,
amplify.
yeah, you
You
do
know
a
what I
really
mean?
good job of I noticed like I think the word is accentuating like words. Like I whatever example I'm gonna give is bad, but like when something happened, like the archers are about to da 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 da, and I was like, damn, that's pretty fucking good. That was some good. That was some good. What's the word? I don't know. I'm a little drunk.
You over exaggerate, right? Like you kind of and I learned that from kind of back to Warcraft when I watched like Carson again, I keep going back to like when Carson and Bidu used to stream and I used to watch them all the time. They used to cast like lower level players and they wouldn't sit there and like make fun of them. They wouldn't sit there and criticize their mistakes, right? They tried to make it believable that they everything they were doing was intentional and they had like these complex game plans and they kind of like took you on this journey through the game with them. And I kind of used that a little bit in my streams as well, where like, and I'll give you an example. Like, they casted one of the games between me. They casted a grudge match between me and one of my buddies, Cairo. And this was way before I had done any casting at all. And my buddy made a donation to them that said like OC Drummer sucks or whatever like that, right? And
Wow,
and then and
that's
they're like, oh
rude.
my god, like that's toxic. And then I commented back like, I was like, "This kid's so bad, he won't even play me on stream," or something like that. And, basically, they created a grudge match between, like, me and this guy, and we're both, like at the time, I was, like, 1250, and he was, like, 1,000 MMR, right?
Yeah,
And I went back and watched their cast, and they were casting us as if we were 2,000, 2,200 level players, right? Like,
yeah, yeah. They weren't
they
they
weren't
weren't
saying, like,
dismissive. Like they weren't like, oh,
"No."
these guys like are like noobs, so we're not gonna take it seriously.
Right, like, no, they were casting us like it was Happy versus Hitman, dude, like,
Yeah,
they took it really seriously, and Carson's sitting there like, "Oh, man, OC Drummer must be thinking this, this, and this, which means he's got this big grand strategy to attack at this timing." I don't even know what timings are at this point in my
yeah,
li
yeah, yeah,
where, I don't know what a fucking timing is, like, what are you talking
yeah.
about a timing? Like, I rolled by his expo out of pure luck, and I discovered it, right? And Carson's like, OC Drummer's hitting this incredible timing at the 9.5 minute mark, just like he's supposed to in Human versus Orc. And I don't know anything about that, right? But
Yeah.
like they hype it up and they brought a level of seriousness to the match, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to bring into like GNL matches. Like I wanted to bring them a level of like seriousness that people would um, like a believability, right? That even though it's not that serious, like, and these players don't know all these crazy timings and things like that, if you broadcast it as such, it becomes believable and
Yeah,
then it
yeah,
becomes
yeah,
enjoyable,
yeah,
right? So
yeah.
then you have to kind of think of it from that perspective, and like your viewers don't want to hear. It's like breaking the fourth wall almost, like in a show. Like viewers don't want to. They don't want to know what's going on behind the scenes. They want to just be entertained, and if you can do that, then I think you've done something great. And like those two did it so well. I brought a lot of that over to casting lower level games, and then it's much easier to apply to higher level games because it's just naturally there. But it's all about just keeping it entertaining, keeping it fun.
Yeah, yeah. There's something, about like fake it till you make it or whatever, but really it's there's this very established and like the audience is like kind of big, like niche big.
Yeah.
I can't give numbers, but if there are like 15,000 people that watch a Back to Warcraft stream every once in a while, then you have like this basis for these people who are just going to open a Warcraft stream. And if you talk about it like it's real, they're not going to care that they're 1200. They may not even notice that they're 1200 until the end. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I always go back to this example, and not like I'm asked this all the time, but I go back to I don't know if you've seen the Grubby versus Moon broadcast of
I think
like
I might have seen that
where
depending on when it was.
these guys are screaming at the top of their lungs about like units getting surrounded, and they're talking in like German. They're not even talking in English. And I'm watching it and I'm so into it and I can't even understand a word that they're saying. Like that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
That's all you need. Like there's so much hype and there's so much intrigue pulling you into the cast because of the enthusiasm of the casters. Yeah, Wantu is saying it now. Like, yeah, you don't even know what they're saying, but it's so hype and you might even want to play it. Like it's that good. Like it's crazy, man.
Is it
I'll
on
try to
his
find a
channel?
link for it. YouTube
I feel like
Moon,
you know Ted, like the Chinese Warcraft 3 caster?
the guy from like Ted Fiends.
Yeah, yeah, like Ted Feeds.
Yeah.
I feel like he does a pretty good job of like doing like hype casts because they're all in Chinese, right? So I have no idea what's going on. But he's kind of it's a little bit more entertaining than it could be. Like even though I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I gotta find this because it's Grumpy versus Moon. It was at like some crazy tournament. Yeah, this video. So go to this video and go to like the end.
All right.
I'm gonna drop it over to you. You don't even need to watch anything. You don't even need to put a video on your stream. It's just listening to it. You'll get hyped. It's
How far
crazy.
into the end?
I'm like at like the 30
Oh, it's loud. They're like shouting.
Yeah, it's hype, dude. Like that's what I mean. It's so hype.
This is in 2008.
Yeah, and like it's German, right? So it's German.
Oh, right.
You,
It's in German. Yeah.
so you don't even know what they're
That's
saying,
great.
but like, it's so extreme and so crazy that you're just pulled right in, and you want to keep watching. So it's a similar thing. Like you don't need anything extra in terms of like explaining the game. If it's hype and it's exciting, people are gonna watch. And it's the same with like WWE, with NHL. Like part of the reason those games are so entertaining to watch is the commentators. Like you think of like I don't know, did you ever watch WWE as a kid? Like when The Rock and Stone Cold
I
were
watch
wrestling?
WWE every once in a while because some of my old roommates would like always watch WWE, you know?
Yeah, and then like you have like Jim Ross on there screaming his head off about like Stone Cold's here, and then like Stone Cold's gonna beat up the whole roster. Like that gets you so hyped up before the thing even actually occurs.
Yeah.
You're just glued to the television, like, you can't leave, and I think people can apply a similar thing to casting video games or anything like that, and there's been so many examples in League of Legends, Rocket League, Halo, Warcraft 3. Neo and Remo do an amazing job of coverage, and they know exactly the formula I'm talking about here, where and Neo's in the same category as me, like, Neo is not a 2,000 level player, right? And neither is Remo, and neither is Carson, but
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Come on, Remo's won a tournament. Whoa,
I don't think
whoa.
he's 2,000, like, or maybe he is, right? Or,
Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
you
That
know what I
that's the
mean, like
that's
that.
the Remo meme. You know,
Yeah, oh,
he
okay.
he, he won a tournament. You know, come on.
But they have an incredible synergy, like, Remo and Carson, right, are both. I put them in, like, the same, category of they can bring a high level analysis overview of the game, like, why is a player doing what they're doing? What could they do next? And what's going on with their opponent? What could they do to counter it? Why would those counters work? Et cetera, right? And then Neo is like me, where we don't have that high level analysis, but we can bring the hype, we can bring all of the entertainment, and
Right.
that's kind of what he's really good at. And Neo's also just really good at reading the room and seeing like what people want to see, what production value people want, and that's why he's really good. For example, with like the new layout that they've just built.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen it, but they built like a whole new layout
I haven't.
for streams. It's incredible. They
I'll have to check
removed
it
the
out.
whole yeah, they removed the whole top bar, they removed part of the bottom bar, and the layout's just completely optimized for those pieces of the UI of the native Warcraft
I
3
do
UI
know that
missing.
they were talking to Pat about it. Pat, is this like Pat's doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what Neo's really good at is like, what can I do to increase and benefit the viewer experience? Like, what do the
Yeah.
viewers want to see? And he just has a knack for that. He's really good at that. So his pairing with Remo is incredible because Neo brings that perspective while Remo's bringing the high end perspective of what do the high end players want to hear, and that's strategy analysis and things like that. And together they cover like the whole spectrum, right? And that's where I feel me and Carson worked really well together, and I've casted with him a couple times. Carson's able to bring that analysis to the game, and I'm able to bring like kind of the hype and the play by play, and together it's a good mix. So I
Yeah.
think there's a good cohesion there, a good just kind of synergy.
Yeah, I think that yeah. Totally agree. Got to have the hype guy and the Remo, the Carson.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said before, I was so surprised to see like Remo behind the scenes because you would never know. Like even
I
in
didn't know
the
that. I didn't know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
even in the Americas cast, like he's on the call the whole
I
time,
I thought he was just like I
all
thought
that
he was
stuff.
just chilling.
No, he's working. Like he grinds just as much as everybody. So but you would never know. And it's when you get that glimpse, behind the curtain, it's really interesting to see like just how much work, how much pre-production work goes on. It's not like we're sitting there like rehearsing lines because honestly for me, it was like I just showed up 15 minutes before we went live and Neo's like, "All right, we're going to talk about this, this, this and this." And the order is I'm gonna talk first, then Carson's gonna talk, then I'm gonna talk, then OC's gonna talk, then I'm gonna talk, then Carson's gonna like it's like A B
Yeah,
A
yeah.
C A B A C, right? So like I know who's gonna talk next, and I know what I'm gonna
So
talk
that's
about,
I like
but
that. I
yeah,
like that I didn't know that I would assume that's what somebody would do for casting, but I didn't know that there was an explicit order.
for that was for like pre-game lobbies. It wasn't for casting the game. Uh,
Interesting.
so like the pre-game when we would talk about um like who did we cast? It was like Hitman versus like Kiwi Kaki or something like that.
Yeah.
It would be like, all right, these are the four topics we're going to talk about. What has Hitman done in ESL lately? Kiwi Kaki hasn't been competing lately. What kind of shape do we think he's in? Like these types of topics, right? And it would be like, and we always knew that it would be A B A C A B A C. So it would be Neo passing to Carson, Neo passing to me, alternating. So I would know when it was my turn, when it wasn't, so we weren't like talking on top of one
Right, right,
another.
right. Yeah, I
But
think
when it
that's pretty
came,
necessary.
yeah, but when it came to the games, um, casting the games. There was no like format or practice. They're just Neo and Carson are just so good at what they do. When you can keep up with them, it's so easy, right? Like
Right.
you could just tell like Carson goes off and then you could tell when he's about to stop and then it's your time to jump in, right? And then you have about like 5 to 10 seconds before you need to pass it back, right? And you kind of just do this trade-off, like back and forth. And you don't want to take longer than like 5 to 10 to maybe 15 seconds tops, depending on what's going on. And you kind of just want your like what you're saying to make it obvious that you're passing it off.
Yes. Yeah, that's
Like
key. Yeah.
oh, here goes Hitman. He's going for the grunt, and look at that kill all of a sudden. And what do you think about that, Carson? Like, and then
Yeah,
like he
yeah.
knows it's his turn or something like that. So, like, when you're kind of passing back and forth, back and forth, and you don't even have to say their name, you can just say, "Oh, and there's a grunt kill, and that's going to be a really tough comeback for Hitman." And then, like, Carson knows it's his turn to come in, right? So you kind of like do that back and forth. And I'd never cast it with Neo before, and Neo just knows it all. Like it's just natural. So he's already doing this flow. So like I know how to plug into that flow because I had done it before. So when me and Neo cast it for the first time, it was just felt completely natural, felt effortless, right? Like you knew when you had to talk, you knew when it was time to pass, and it just flowed really nicely. So I mean, these guys are just. I've told other people like they're just so good at what they do. When you work with them, it's easy, it's effortless.
I love it. I just had to. All right, I'm trying to think of what other. Okay, what else do you like to do other than Warcraft 3? Are you how good of you are at how good are you are at drumming?
I'm pretty good. I don't know if you could see it back there.
Definitely.
I have a national medal over there.
Wait,
I'll go
what?
grab it for you. Yeah.
For like wait, what? I'm a little drunk, guys. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not being rude.
So this is a national championship from Bands of America. This was from high school. Um
Okay.
yeah, it's actually a funny story. My drum teacher at the time in high school, he was working with the drum line of the high school I was going to. It was my senior year, so I'd never done anything like this. And he said, "Hey, do you want to?" We had some guy just drop off the drum line. Do you want to play snare drum for like Nick Cannon, like at a drum line? If you ever seen that movie,
Yeah.
um, very similar. He's like, "Hey, do you want to play snare for the drum line?" And I said, "Yeah, sure, but it's not like my thing. I've never like done marching band before. It sounds kind of honestly to me, it just sounded kind of lame."
Yeah. Marching
But
band's so lame, right, guys?
it is it is honestly like from my perspective at the time, and then when I
Right, right,
did it,
right, right.
it was nuts. Like how hard these guys work and how talented like the whole organization is. We had like a 150 maybe not that much, maybe like 70 person like marching band. It was fucking nuts, and like how much time we had to practice like throughout the summer and everything like that. It was out of control. So,
Yeah, I hear marching
um,
band camp gets wild. That's that, or at least when I was like 19, people like, yeah, man, like marching band camp. That's where all the sexual things happen because they're all like so frustrated with marching band.
I mean, it was interesting for me. It's not like I was like a super like the most popular kid in school, but like I hung with like the normal crowd, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Um, so when I went to join them, I wasn't like in that group of like I don't know, hadn't experienced like the normal experiences in high school, I guess. But there are some things that go down at those long trips, right? When
So
you're traveling.
the stories are true. There are some things that go down.
I've heard some things, I've seen some things, and it's from my perspective, it was interesting for sure.
I love it.
But it was fun. You know, I got this medal. I still keep it to this day, even though
You got it
I
on your
don't think
wall.
yeah, I don't think it means to me as much nearly as it means to them. Like, cause
Right,
I
right.
only I only played with them for 1 year, but to me, it's a big accomplishment. Like, I tried something new. I gave it my all. We kicked ass, and I got a cool medal for it. So I keep it around just as a keepsake of where I've been. You know.
Were you ever in a band?
Yes, yes. I was in a band. We played a show with Cobra Starship and 303 at the Stone Pony. That was one of our big.
What? The Stone
Yeah, that was
Pony?
yeah, that was we played Stone Pony
Hell
quite a bit.
yeah!
Yeah, we played there quite a bit.
Oh my god, with
And
Cobra Starship?
yeah, we won. So
Wait, where are you from? What the fuck?
I'm from New Jersey. I'm from New
I'm
Jersey.
from New Jersey. I live in New Jersey, bro.
Oh, I'm
I
from
should have fucking asked this before.
I'm from Bridgewater, New Jersey, in central New Jersey.
Dude, like the Stone Pony is like you have to be from New Jersey to be like, oh, or I guess
Yeah.
like yeah, to be like, oh, like I play at the Stone Pony.
Yeah, I still have my ticket of the tickets we sold that night. It's in my other room. Um yeah, in Asbury Park. So you know where that is.
Oh yeah,
Uh
I grew up like not in Asbury Park, but near Asbury.
yeah. So we were playing Stone Pony like every now and then, like maybe like once or twice every couple months, right? Not that frequently. And they hosted like a battle of the bands.
Oh, yeah,
And your your objective as a band was not only to win, but was to get people to the venue, right? So
right.
they would give you like these sheets of tickets, right? And it was kind of interesting. It'd be like this big sheet of tickets, and it would have like 30 or 40 tickets on it, and you had to sell all the tickets, right? And that was part of the judgment of if you would win or
Interesting.
not, like how many people you could actually bring to your shows. So I think we had a good combination of being able to get people there as well as putting on a good show, and we ended up winning that. And the prize for winning that was opening for it was Cobra Starship 303, Travie
Holy
McCoy,
shit!
because I
What
guess
the
he split off
fuck?
from I guess he split off from Gym Class Heroes at the time, so he
That's
was like doing
that's
his
that's
own.
such a fucking like middle school for me. Middle school, like I guess you'd be in high school, like star-studded lineup.
It was
303,
at
Travie
the time.
McCoy.
It was a big deal, and but again, you know what they did to us? They made us sell tickets again. Like they gave us these like sheets again, and not we didn't just have one sheet this time. We had like 20
Wait,
sheets
they
now.
couldn't sell their own tickets for a
No, they
303 concert?
they did, but they made us sell tickets too.
What?
yeah,
Wild.
they put us to work. Like they gave us these like dude, I had like a stack like this thick. It was crazy of like just sheets of tickets, and they wanted us to like sell them to our, I guess, fans and friends, which was it was to be honest, it was way easier to sell these tickets when we were playing with these bands. So like
Yeah, yeah.
we
Oh, do you want to
we
go to a fucking Cobra Starship
yeah.
Stone Pony? It's like only I guess I don't know how much it would cost, but
I think it was I have the price. I think it was like 25
yeah.
bucks. It
Oh,
wasn't
it's
that
only
much.
20 bucks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I was
it
gonna
wasn't that
say,
much.
but I didn't want to. Huh?
It was yeah, I have the ticket still in my drawer. Like
Fuck,
I
that's
kind of
cool. That's real
I
cool.
got I think I want to like get it framed because that's like a pretty cool like thing before it gets like damaged in my drawer.
Yeah, you can
But
sell that
yeah,
on eBay for I don't
for
know,
what the
50 bucks.
maybe less than
Yeah, maybe
25,
less than
maybe
25.
but yeah, man, those venues, they're all about they don't care really about what your music sounds like. They care about who you can draw. Like you could
Interesting.
be yeah, you could be like William Hung, right? Wasn't that the guy in American Idol who just couldn't sing for shit, but
Yeah.
he was able to draw like thousands of people to his concerts? That's what they care about. Like they care about putting asses in seats. Like that's the saying, right?
I think Stone Pony's like I mean I'm not gonna call it a dead venue now, but I don't think Stone Pony like I don't think it's I don't think it is what it was.
Oh, I mean, not when Bruce was playing there, like, all the
Yeah.
time and stuff like that, and, I think, like, Bon Jovi played there too, but, um, it's still, like, a legendary venue that
Yeah, yeah.
some of the biggest names in music have played at, so, like, trust me, when I was there playing my initial shows, there wasn't 6,000 people there. There was like
Right.
40. There was like 40 people there, and those 40 people were for all of the bands, including us and the 5 other bands that were playing. So like, it's not like the venue was packed shoulder to shoulder, but the Cobra Starship show was packed shoulder to shoulder. That was like
Huh.
the first time we played there, and the place was completely packed. That was really cool. So
I feel
it
like the
was
room's
it
kind
was
of
awesome.
small, like from what I remember.
Well,
Do they do it
the room,
outdoors?
yeah, the room is
Yeah.
small,
The room's kind of
but
small.
we played outside.
Yeah.
There's like a summer stage, they call it. So if you look it up, you just look up like Stone Pony Summer Stage. It's like a whole outdoor area that like overlooks the beach. It's pretty cool. And
Huh.
we played on that summer stage with
Gotcha.
everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, my privileged middle school flex is like I went to middle school with John Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen's kid. So children.
with with their kid.
Yeah. I think
That's
like
funny.
they weren't very nice from what I remember.
Were they like arrogant and
Yeah,
just
for sure.
like
Even
entitled?
at the right age of like 9. Like I
Uh,
don't know how arrogant you could be at 9, but somehow he was. I think he
I
has like
gotta.
a deal with like he has like a label of whiskey now. Oh.
That's kind of nice. I wish I had that.
Yeah.
I gotta imagine when your dad is like a musical icon and like a
Yeah.
god in the music space, you get this little pep in your step. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's true for sure.
Oh man. Well, yeah, that's my music days. But now I just play on this. I do want to hook this up to my interface here and like do some sort of drum along streams. Like,
You should do that. That sounds sick.
yeah, like for people to say like, oh, play along with, because I could play along with almost any song, right? Like I don't struggle to play with Rush or Dream Theater or like you name it. I could play along to stuff. So maybe it'd be entertaining. I don't know.
Have you
Um,
there's actually a German Warcraft 3 streamer. He doesn't stream that much Warcraft 3, but he's a guitarist. He's like kind of
Ooh.
big, and what he does is exactly that. Maybe somebody in chat knows his name. Sunny or Sun. Yes, Sun, dude. You should definitely check this guy out if you don't know him. But
Okay.
he does like he's got a pretty big fan base. He's German fan base.
I don't know if you
And
noticed,
oh shit,
but
he's huge now. Fuck.
is he?
He's got
I
100K followers.
I think like music's pretty big on Twitch because when the Twitch leaks came out of, yeah, 109,000, he plays Fortnite now. So
I
maybe
don't
he
know.
does a little bit of both.
Maybe I don't know if this is the same person. I guess it's got to be. But a couple months ago, he would just play guitar.
Well, I don't know if you saw this. I kind of glanced at it when the Twitch leak came out and everyone's earnings came out.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a guy called the 8-bit drummer who was like in the top 20.
I think I actually know this guy.
Yeah, and this guy plays like drums to songs.
Shit, he's in the top 20.
He was in like maybe
Is
the
he?
top 50. Like he was near the
Because
top. Like
he
I
doesn't have as many followers as the other
pretty
top 50s. He has
But
he has 400K.
you know why I think he's so good is because he makes people donate or subscribe to request songs.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I think that's why he's like near the top. And that's why someone like Grubby is in that list. And not to say like Grubby doesn't deserve to be in that list, but a lot of Grubby's content is based on like donations, right? So
Wait,
like he
Grubby is in the
gets.
top 50.
Oh no, he's in like that top list. He's in
Right.
that
Yeah,
list.
he's got to be
Yeah,
in that top list. Yeah.
yeah, he's in the list. And part of the reason he is not only because he's great at what he does, but a lot of it's incentive driven, like
Right. The
donations.
viewer requests to do
Yeah,
Fire Lord,
yeah. I
whatever
think it's
bullshit.
similar. Yeah, I think it's similar with like the drummer guitarist like play alongs. It's like $5 to pick any song, and I'll drum along to it, or I'll play the guitar to it. You know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that can kind of like snowball into like, oh shit, I want to hear my song played. You know, my favorite song played, and then before you know it, $300 later, you've only played what? What's the math there? 18 songs,
Yeah.
something like that.
If you
That's not
ever
too
if
bad.
you ever do this drum along thing, if you ever are like, oh, you know what, we're gonna do it. I I'm just such a YouTube stan because that's just like how my content creation pattern has gone. But like definitely try to, when you do it, try to think of like how to put it on YouTube too, because you never know, bro. Like it could go like the YouTube algorithm is your name is theOCdrummer. People are
I
gonna be
know.
searching for drumming.
I know. I
You
think I
know?
just need like a 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch cable to like bring from there because I have the interface right here. You probably have a similar one, the Focusrite.
Yes, the focus. You know, I actually used to use another interface, and then I bought the Focusrite recently because that other interface was a little fucked. It's just the best. I guess it's just the best one for the value.
Yeah, I was told
Yeah.
that by someone in the music space, and they said, "Yeah, get the Focusrite."
Yeah.
I think,
Yep.
I think coincidentally, all the streamers are using it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think it's the best one for
yeah,
the value.
and I think it has like a slot for the 1/4 inch or the 1/8 inch,
It
the
does. Yeah.
bigger jack right in the front there.
That's what
So,
I
and
use.
and and this thing has one. So I think what I need is like a splitter, one that goes into the headphones so I can hear the song and the drums, and the other that goes into here. And then once I have that, I think I could just pipe it into a stream, and I think it would be good to go.
Yeah, and you got to get like you got to get a second free GoPro and just have it like close up on the drums or some shit.
Well, I have
There we go. Ah,
the stand that Amazon gave me is around here somewhere. I gotta find it, but I could just go. I could turn these things around, or even put them right here, and get this thing off the wall and like on a stand.
that'd be sick, dude.
This whole thing is it's a ring light with like a screw in. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen this before, but that's what it is. Let me see if I can show you real quick.
I'm kind of curious. What I've been doing in the whoa.
Can you see this now?
Oh, see, whoa. So you
So
got two
this is what this
webcams. You
looks
can
like.
do it.
This is what this looks like. I have this thing like mounted to the wall,
Oh, that's
right?
fucking cool.
But that like screws in
That looks
to a
like
stand. Like
that looks
this
like a
part
Hero
down
8.
here screws into a wall.
I think that's the exact GoPro that I have. Oh, that screws
Yeah.
into a wall. That's real
Well,
sick.
sorry, screws into a stand. So this
Right.
bottom part, it has like a screw port for the stands. So
Yeah.
I can just take that off the wall and screw it into a stand and put it anywhere I want. So
Huh.
yeah,
I
that's that.
never the GoPro actually pretty good webcam. Actually pretty good
Yeah,
webcam.
it was nice. They just Amazon gave me all this stuff for their presentation they wanted me to do. And I emailed them like, all right, so where do I ship all this stuff back to? And they said, just keep it because of COVID protocol. I was like,
Huh.
okay, sure,
Classic
whatever.
Amazon, just having like so much stuff to throw around.
Dude, they gave me the GoPro, the ring light, the capture card.
They gave you
Uh,
a capture card?
yeah, I have it
Is it
right
a
here.
nice one?
Capture card, USB capture, Magewell. I don't know. I don't know if it's
Because
any
the
good.
capture card could be the most expensive thing unless it's a cheap one.
Magewell, and
I
I
have no
have.
idea.
They gave me a mic for like your shirt that like clips onto your shirt
Oh
that you've
yeah,
probably
yeah.
seen. And
I
then they
have
gave me
like
a
3 of those.
Yeah, and then they gave me a webcam also. So I gotta sell half this stuff 'cause I don't even need half this stuff, and they don't want it back. So if anyone wants
Huh.
anything, uh, I'll give it to you for pretty cheap because I don't want it.
I love it. We got a 1-2 question. Oh, we talked about this earlier. How do you do the face cams for fight night? This is great. This is great promotion of the Ninja. And
Yeah.
do you encourage other streamers?
Yes, absolutely, I do. This is the stream or the service.
I'll bring it up.
The hell is it? Oh, here it is. So that's the link. That's what we use for ESL. That's what we use for um, DreamHack. We all use this service. And Carson introduced this to me actually when I first started doing co-casts with him. And basically what you do here is you set up a room So I have like a fight night room, and I give everybody the link, and they basically join that room. And all it does is it just puts their webcam in like a lobby at the bottom, and you could kind of see like everybody's webcam like in a line, and then it gives you the link to import into your OBS. You could do like browser source in OBS, and then you just copy paste the link, and then you get the webcam in a like a big square, and you could resize it, put it wherever you want. It's not the easiest thing to it's not the easiest thing to convince people to do, but
Yeah. It's the
once you go ahead, go ahead.
it's the only way to do dynamic streaming things. Like let's say we both wanted to stream this, which like I think would be totally fine. It's the only way you
Yeah,
can do that cuz you can't stream. I've run into this issue before cuz I've done a podcast with somebody and they're like, "Yo, I want to stream this too." And I'm like, "Sure, word, whatever." But you can't have the camera be used for Discord and your stream unless you use this.
right, right. And it's difficult to convince people to like turn their webcams on, but I don't know, maybe luckily for me, they like they trust me for whatever reason, because I've been on DreamHack and Back to Warcraft and stuff. But um, once I was able to do the first fight night, the second week was way easier to get people to turn their webcams on because they actually wanted to.
Yeah.
Because they saw the first week and they saw how cool it was. They're like, "Oh, where like." They were asking me like, "How do I get my webcam on the stream?" And I was like, "Oh, perfect. Like people
Yeah.
actually want to do it now. I don't have to like beg them to do it because the like Wantu's saying in the chat, the face cams make the cast so much better. I don't even see um the webcams because they're over on this monitor while I'm casting. I'm just like focused on the game. But when I go back and watch it, when I'm clipping it for YouTube, like, and you see, like, for example, Tori and others, she gave like great facial reactions when she messed up or she did something great. And Grinchy too. Like when Grinchy like got a hero kill snipe, or Grinchy lost like an archer when he wasn't supposed to. Like you got to see like their facial
Yeah, yeah.
reactions. Like
Chrissy has great reactions.
yeah, it brought like a whole other level of like just entertainment to the stream. And I was talking to Neo about this actually. I was like, what do we need to do as casters to get like more people to do webcams? And he's just like, dude, it's so hard to do
Well, I
at the
think the pro level,
yeah, at the
yeah, at
pro
the pro
level.
level,
They don't
yeah.
want it
They don't
like
want to
they
have
have
their camera
no
on, yeah.
yeah, they have no interest at the pro level. And luckily you do have players like Todd. Um and Todd knows what it's like to try to get viewers, right? So Todd's all about like the content, right? And he'll do whatever people want him to do for like a good show, like a good
Yeah.
match, a good show, and he's good like that. And he did it like in the most recent what the hell was it? The War 3 Champions when he did his reschedule with Hitman, right? Instead of like taking the default win, because Hitman did basically no showed in the first match. He rescheduled, right?
Yeah.
Um Todd said, "No, let's reschedule, and I'll put my webcam on top of that." Like Todd did what he thought was best for the viewers, and
Yeah.
that's amazing, right? Like for me and for you and for everybody watching. But a lot of the other top players, they don't they don't think that way, and it's understandable, right? Like they're there
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
win, they're there to compete, they're there to play. They don't care about the not like they don't care, but their first priority is not the viewers. So when lower level players in GNL, and I hate to say that like negatively, it's not. It's just like,
Yeah,
when
it's
you're
just
900
skill
to
level.
yeah. Yeah, when you're 915 versus 2500 or
Yeah, the
2400,
best player.
it's yeah, it's a crazy difference. It makes the games, I feel, so much more entertaining, so much more relatable when you get to see somebody make a mistake and make the same facial expression that you do behind your computer when I'm fast expoing, right, and I lose 8 peasants to a Farsi or Headhunter Rush or Entangle or Death Coil, I make the same face that the 900 level player does, that the 1500 level player does when they lose units that they don't want to lose, right? And it makes you like makes it feel like, oh, like they have the same struggles as me,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
it just makes it more relatable, right? So I think I think it just makes it that much more entertaining, and I saw that again when I was doing the DreamHack casts with Neo and Carson, and I'm looking over at the live feed, and I see, like, the players' cams. I'm like, "Dude, this feels not
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel better because it's DreamHack. It feels better because the players' faces are there.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
makes that's what makes it feel more important. Not like the DreamHack logo in the bottom right, like, no one's even gonna look at that. People are gonna look at the
But the
players' faces.
Sonic's, yeah,
Yeah.
Sonic's performance, his visual performance, that sort of.
That's what, like that's what brought, like, validity to it, and that's what I kinda wanted to try with GNL, and it's been working so far.
I
I
think
think
it's
people have
fucking
been
great,
loving it.
dude. I think it's fucking.
Yeah.
I haven't even watched any because I've been so inactive, and now I'm like, all right, I gotta watch this. This is sick.
It's fun. The matches are fun, and it seems like somehow I've made it, I've encouraged people to use webcams, which is, I I didn't think it was possible, but now people are asking me to, like, put their webcam on. Like,
Yeah,
how do I get they're, like, ask like, "How do I get my webcam on the stream?" I'm like, "Oh my god." Like, just 2 weeks ago, I was literally walking people through, begging them. I was like, "Please click this link.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Please press this button. Please do
yeah,
this.
yeah. I
Please do
totally
that."
totally understand that. It's because like when I was more active and my podcast was more active and I was reaching out to people. I think the pro players. I think there's 90% of them or something. There's like this. If you are that good at Warcraft 3, there's like an attribute that correlates with like being a bit more reserved and a bit less. You don't want to have your camera on. That's distracting. You're a pro, like that sort of thing. Because
Sure.
it was hard. I'd ask Cruncher like, "Hey, Cruncher, you want to interview?" And he's like, "Nah, not my sort of thing." Even like Sayso, who I think Sayso is like a little bit more of a open and like open to discussion sort of guy. Like, it's just a bit harder. But we love the community. The community, I think, is good at representing themselves.
Yeah, and I think the same, and I've had some disagreements with top players about ping, right? So
Yeah,
about, the importance of ping, and I wanna kinda explain my perspective. So, not like this needs to be explained, but kind of
yeah,
my approach to my, viewpoint of this is I'm a 1400 level player, 1450 at on a good day, right? Like, on my best day, when everything's clicking, I'm 1450. On my worst day, I'm 1350, right? So I'm somewhere in the middle there. At that level, as long as the ping is below 120, I would say, maybe 110,
yeah.
it's unnoticeable, right? At that
I think
level,
that's fair. Yeah,
right? Like you don't I couldn't if you turn the ping off on the display, I couldn't tell you if the ping was 30 versus 110 after that game was over. Like if I played that game and I won or lost and you asked me what the ping was, I couldn't tell you, right? I wouldn't be able as long as it was under that threshold. Now, if I was purposely like looking and like doing a mouse click and trying to like visually measure how delayed my unit was, maybe I could tell you.
yeah,
But
right.
in the heat of the moment, in the middle of the game, ping is not the differentiator in how much fun I'm having, how competitive I think the match was, and how fair the match was. As long as it's under that threshold. And for War 3 champions, luckily, I would say like 95% of the matches I play are under that threshold, right? They're under a buck 20 on MS. Most of them are actually in like the 80 to 90 range. That's probably like the sweet spot of where most of the matches are. Some of them go a little bit above, some go below, but most of them are in 80 to 90. So at my skill level, and I think the majority of people's skill levels, because that seems to be like, I think like 1450 ish is around like the 50 percentile mark.
Yeah,
So right around there is like half of the people that don't even realize ping. Like for all intents and purposes, like if it's 250, people are gonna notice, right? If it's 300, people are gonna
I
notice.
think even like 160, you start to
Right,
notice.
right. But how
Yeah,
often is like a game in 160? It's
yeah.
very rare.
It's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's very rare. Normally, it's in the 80 to 90 to 100 range. And as long as it's there, you don't really notice it at that level, right? Because games are won and lost based on general strategy, macro, creep route. In terms of like micro specifics, it's very basic in terms of bring injured units back, try to focus fire when you can, try to have units with the right attack type damaging the right units of defense type, like to get them to maximize the amount of damage throughput you're getting. But you're not getting happy level micro at that level where every millisecond matters, right? You're just not getting that. So battles are won and lost based on macro for the most part, right? At that level. I'll give you an example. When I was watching Tori's and Guns game, you had heroes that were a minute and a half late. You had tier 2 buildings that were a minute and a half late. If you try to pull that in a 13 or 1400 level game, you're going to get steamrolled because your opponent's going to have a level 3 Tauren Chieftain before your level 1 second hero's even out. Like it can't happen, right? But the game was not lost on a micro level, it was lost on a macro level at that point, right? So like that's what I mean by like games are won and lost based on macro at that level. Now when you get to the higher levels into the 1900, 1800 plus, that's when micro starts becoming much more of a factor in the result of a game. And that's where starts becoming way more important in the result of a game.
Yeah.
So when you have players like, you have Hitman and Cruncher and Happy that are very particular about ping, it's hard for players in my perspective to understand what that's like
Yeah.
when all of the games I play are not determined by ping and all of the games they play are determined by ping
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
at that level it matters so
They're
much.
all determined by micro.
Right,
Yeah.
micro, even item RNG, like that's
Yeah.
a thing that
Yeah.
matters. Like if I get 3 claws versus 3 circlets, my game's probably gonna go very similar, right?
Right.
For more or less. And if you put Hitman in versus me, and all of his creep camps drop no items, and my creep camps all drop claws plus 12, all of them,
Yeah.
I'd probably still lose,
Yeah.
right? I'd probably still lose.
I
Like, that's how big
love
of a
it.
skill gap difference there is.
Yeah.
Um, but that's, like, the level of, like, sensitivity, and I don't mean from an emotional perspective, I mean from, like, a game perspective,
Yeah.
matters in terms of ping, in terms of item RNG, in terms of all these minuscule differences matter in the top level that lower level people don't even get the same perspective of, and they never will until
Yeah.
they're at that level.
Yeah.
It makes the discussion so hard to have, right, between the community because everyone's perspective is completely different. Of the 1500 level player doesn't know what it's like to be an 1800 level player who doesn't know what it's like to be a 2100, which, if you can believe it, is even crazier between 21 and 2400, where Happy
Right.
and Hitman are. Right,
Yeah.
there's still a huge gap at the top.
Yeah.
Um, even all the people on the first page of Grandmaster, the people at the bottom are so far away from the people at the top, just as far away as like uh diamond to like silver. Like
Yeah.
it's almost like that big of a gap. It's crazy. So I think that's an interesting discussion, and I think people need more like understanding of perspective that this is why people say the things that they say is because they just don't know any better, right?
Yeah.
That's their
I
perspective.
think you made some pretty excellent points there, especially like one thing that I was thinking about was like, I used to watch Todd stream and Todd would always be like, "Oh, I can't fucking believe this," like in whatever Todd impression you can do. Like I keep getting these shit items.
Right.
And I always used to laugh at that because I'd be like, "Oh, come on, Todd! Like the items, how much do they matter?" And obviously, they matter a lot. And I just think it's funny that he's doing it. But it's also like that's the perspective. Is like at his level, the items actually do kind of matter that much. You
They
know?
matter a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
matter a
matter a
lot.
lot. Yeah, and it matters more and more the higher you climb. But
Yeah,
at the lower levels, the games are won and lost based on not on ping, not on item luck, but on like the fundamental macro strategy level, right? And then those players don't even know what it's like to win and lose
yeah,
games based on like item RNG or ping difference, which is a real thing at the top levels. But there's such like a discrepancy in perspective that
I think
I,
you. Oh, sorry, I
yeah.
interrupted you. Go.
No, I was just thinking a lot of the discrepancy and a lot of the disagreement happens between players who just don't know about each other's perspective. Because a Hitman and a Todd and a Happy, probably can't even remember what it's like to play a game of Warcraft 3 where that stuff doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Because they've been
Yeah.
at the top level for so long. Like
Especially
honestly,
Todd.
yeah, like Todd's been at the top for
Fucking
more than
decades, dude.
more than a decade. Do you
Yeah.
even remember what it was like when you played your first 100 games of Warcraft 3 where you were probably bad, right? Like relative to where you are now. Um Probably not, right? Like
Yeah.
very likely not. You've been at the top for so long and you just lose that perspective. It's the same as like people who start poor in life and they become wealthy, right? Like you lose perspective on even though you appreciate it, you lose perspective on what it's like to be not as wealthy anymore. And this happens with people who find wealth in the stock market or in business. Like when you're in the top for too long, you just lose perspective, right? You don't remember what the struggles are like at the lower level. And it happens in games, happens in life, happens wherever. And it makes the discussion just so much harder to have because there's so much disagreement because no one can put themselves in one another's shoes. It becomes an unwinnable battle, essentially, for all parties.
Yeah. One thing, so what I was going to say, I think when you cast games at all levels, which you, I think, do, I think you do, but I used to do this a little bit. But once you, like if, let's say you cast games at 1300 and you play at 1400, and you cast games at 900, and you cast games at 1500, and you cast games at 1700, and you cast games at 1900, the, like, discrepancy in skill that you would never know because you're, like, not ever playing at that level. And even if you watch people play at that level, when you cast, you have to, like, deliberately, like, notate or announce what's going on. And I feel like you start to notice, like, oh, I kind of see the difference between 1500 and 1700. Like, I kind of see the difference between 1700 and 1900. And I think that was a very interesting thing for me to notice, was the difference in, like, what decides a game between 1700 and 1550. Because it's like, I don't know if I can put my finger on it right now, but I remember just, like, realizing how, like, all these different things about, like, macro and, like, the strategies started to just sort of, like, at a certain level, like, macro would be, like, pretty defined. And it would just, like, yeah, they always do this. Like, this always happens when this happens, and this always happens when this.
Yeah, there's definitely thresholds, and I think the coaches in GNL are pretty good at identifying this, and I kind of align with their observations where like there's like these tiers, right? And the tiers don't necessarily align with the W3 Champions tiers, but there's the very beginner level where you're just trying to figure out like the tech tree, right? Just like what buildings produce what units counter, like what unit damage type counters what armor type, like just the basic stuff. What abilities does a hero have, right?
Right.
What items does the merc shop have? What items does your personal shop have? Things like that, right? There's like that level, and then there's like I've found at the very low levels, it's tempo and macro, right?
Mm, yeah,
Between like
absolutely.
900 and 1200, the tempo of the game is extremely slow in terms of battle to battle. So when someone finishes a creep camp, they might have their army camped there for 1 to 5 seconds instead of instantaneously moving to the next camp while their hero picks up the item and they move to the next camp. And in fact, you see even crazier stuff being done at the higher level where they're optimizing creep armor types and stuff like that. Um, that's being done there. And then there's like a cluster of like 1300 to 1500 where games are pretty much won and lost based on like macro mistakes and like just mistakes, right? Like it
Yeah.
really comes down like who makes more mistakes. Both players are microing at relatively similar levels. Like maybe someone's better in micro, but it's not really determining anything crazy. It really comes down to like if you show up with a 70 food army and a level 3 Tauren Chieftain and a level 4 Farseer, and your undead opponent shows up with a 50 food army and a level 3 Death Knight and a level 2 Lich, who's winning? Right? Like who's winning that battle? The orc is winning that battle 99 times out of 100 because they crept better and they macroed better. It didn't really this battle is not coming down to micro. And
Right.
a lot of times you see that in these lower level like games where these armies are clashing at the 12-minute mark and somebody just has a definitive advantage
Yeah.
in the battle. That's just what it comes down to. It's because they crept better, they macroed better, and it really just came down to that. And then when you get higher and higher into the 16, 1700, macro mistakes and creep routes are pretty much taken care of for the most part, right? Like someone at 17 and Kaiser's in the chat, right? Like so someone at Kaiser's level and Baron's level, it's very rare they're forgetting to get their second hero started or get their slaughterhouse up when it's supposed to be up or their
Yeah, it
arcane
basically
sanctums up.
never happens
Yeah,
unless
it
they're
basically
streaming and they forget.
yeah, it's very rare they make like blatant macro mistakes. So a lot of their battles are coming down to like more in-depth strategy decisions in terms of how to counter specific things.
Yeah.
When you see certain build orders, how to specifically counter them. Creep route specifics. So like,
Yeah,
should I
yeah.
creep this green versus this orange? Right? Like those things matter. And then micro, like micro starts to matter a little bit more in terms of how you're microing. And then at the 2200 level, it's like I've from what I've noticed when I've been streaming, it really comes down to who makes the fewest mistakes at that
Right.
point because everybody's performing at such a high level. Almost no macro mistakes, almost no micro mistakes, almost no creep route mistakes because they're optimizing creeps to the most. Like, and I've noticed this while I've been watching is they the really good players and Happy's part of this is they'll creep a camp and every unit is attacking the most efficient armor damage type that it can be attacking, right? So footmen are attacking the medium armor creeps, ranged are
Hello?
attacking the heavy armor creeps, right? So they're all doing that. And
All
basically
right,
what
you playing
happens
outside?
here uh-oh,
Okay, I'll be right down. Thank you so much.
you getting food. You're getting some Grubhub.
Yeah, yeah. I have to go get food. I'm
All
sorry
good.
to interrupt you. This would probably
No
be a
problem.
good time to start to wrap up. So I'll leave you with the stream for a couple minutes. If
Sure,
anyone
sure.
has any final questions,
Yeah.
be right back.
So and that's what I've kind of seen is at that high level players are they're optimizing the creeps to such an extent that a 1 to 2 second difference of finishing up a creep camp snowballs into a big advantage into the mid to late game. So not only are they doing things like that, but they're they're taking the item first, right, out of that creep camp, and they're moving their hero to the next creep camp while their remainder of their units finish up that creep camp. And then they're kind of pulling the next creep camp into where they're standing to minimize the amount of movement they need to do. It's all these like micro optimizations that they're doing that snowball into all of these 0.5 second leads you're getting turns into a 10-second lead you have on your opponent. And that 10-second lead would mean nothing in a lower level game. Like if I have a 10-second lead on my opponent in a 1300 level game, it means pretty much nothing. But a 10-second lead in a 2300 level game is huge. Like it's huge. So that's kind of what I've noticed as a difference between like lower level to medium level to high level to extreme high level is like seconds and milliseconds actually matter. And that's why you hear so much about, and we talked about this earlier, you hear so much about ping, you hear so much about item RNG, because item RNG leads to finishing up creep camps earlier. Ping leads to making micro decisions better. Like all of these little things actually matter at the top level where they have no difference at all at the bottom level because the bottom level, like we said earlier, the bottom level games are determined by just overall bigger picture, better macro, better decision making, better strategy. If you show up with 4 knights versus 4 fiends, you're winning, right? If you show up with 12 gyros versus 3 destroyers, you have a pretty good shot, right? And like I said earlier, if you have a level 4 Tauren Chieftain and a level 3 Farseer versus a level 3 Death Knight and a level 2 Lich, you're looking pretty damn good. That means you crept better, you macroed better, your timings were better. You're just going to win. Like, your opponent is 1400. They're not going to out micro you at that level. Now, if Happy had that army, if Happy had a level 3 DK and a level 2 Lich, maybe you're in trouble, right? But a level 1400 player is not winning that battle. They're just not. So it just comes down to macro, strategy, and everything at the lower level, and it makes, we talked about this a little bit earlier, it makes the discussion so hard to have between high level players and low level players about the things that matter in a game and balance and things like that, because it's just so different. The people at the top of the top, there are little minute differences that the people at the bottom have no clue even exist. Me included. I'm there in my games. These don't matter in my games. When you talk about balance, when you talk about the very minute details, ping, item RNG, all these types of things that seem to make no difference in a lower level game make all the difference in a higher level game. And I always go back to this point. Sorry to rant for too long. When I look at patch notes, and this used to be me when I was like, I'm like a 1400 now. When I was like a 1200, 1100 level player, and I used to look at patch notes, and it was like, we lowered the HP of a unit by 25, right? And I would look at the forums, and people would be in uproar, like complete uproar, or even better, we increased the attack damage of a unit by 1, or the armor of a unit by 1, right?
Bears.
Yeah, right? And I look at the forums, and people are, like, melting down because of this change, thinking it's gonna completely change everything, and I'm sitting there like, how is 1 attack damage gonna possibly change things that much at my 'cause at my perspective, again, like, 1200 level player, if my knight has 40 damage or 45 damage or maybe even 50 damage, I think probably the battle's gonna go the same way at my level, because it really depends on how well my macro game, like, how many knights I have, like, how many more knights I have than they have, of a similar unit. So, it's, it comes down to that where, well, yeah, like you said, want to, a lot of Twitch chat doesn't understand anything, period, but and I'm not claiming to be an expert, right, at all. But as I stream more games, as I cast more games, as I see more perspectives, I start to finally understand why these little minute details matter. Not to say I completely understand them, from like what they'll actually do. Like, if you were to ask me, what would, because I think we all agree, like, headhunters need some sort of nerf, right? Grubby said it. I think a lot of other players have said it. If you were to ask me, what would the difference be between -2 damage versus -100 range? What would be the better nerf for headhunters? I honestly couldn't tell you. Like, that's tough. But someone at the higher level could tell you, oh, one is way worse than the other, right? But both of those, to me, when I see those nerfs in a list, to me it just seems like, oh, finally, like, headhunters got some sort of nerf. But, like, is 2 damage enough? Like, those like, those are the things I start thinking of, and, when you tell that to someone like Hitman, he'll go, "That's crazy, how can you do something like that? Because that'll change everything," and Grubby too, right? So it's just it's pretty nuts,
So what
the
do you think?
balance
What do you
delicacy.
think would be a better nerf? 100. Now that you said it, 100 range or 2 damage? It's
Well,
kind of
that's what
kind of a good question.
I actually mentioned that because when I did my comical balance patch, and then I saw Grubby do his, like, honest balance patch, I suggested, like, lowering the range a little bit, because where I struggle the most is at my level, again, this is my perspective, is I can't seem to catch them, but then I watch people like Hawk play and Johnny Cage play, and they can catch them, because their
Right.
footy micro is much better, right? Like, they're toggling off defend when they need to, they're turning it back on when they need to, they're doing body blocks, they're doing surrounds, like, they're they're possible to catch, but it's hard for me to catch when they're that far away, with everything going on. And it feels like they're just always out of range, right? And it feels like they're always faster than me. I can't like basically the struggle at where I am is I can't close kills, right? Like I get them to 60 or 80 HP and they're gone. Like they're back home. And then what happens? They get salved, right? They just get salved back up to full HP. And it feels bad, right? It feels bad. So for me, it felt like a range nerf would be nice. Even just 50 range to close the gap and be able to get a couple extra auto attacks from a footman. But from higher level players, it seems like that's unacceptable, right? They and Grubby kind of gave his patch notes. He felt that like a -1, I think he said like -1 or 2, like attack damage felt right. I think that was his. So
Hmm.
it's kind of interesting just seeing like the struggles different levels of players have
Right.
against certain strategies. That when you see a balance patch, you're like, that's not going to help me, or like that doesn't matter. And then you have someone at the higher level going like, that is asinine. How can you give +1 attack damage to a bear or plus 25 mana to a bear? I think that was a recent buff, right? That gave them like an extra rejuve when they came out of the Ancient Allure.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that
Yeah.
that buff was like, I remember when that happened and everyone was like, "Oh, that won't be a big deal." I remember Seiso saying like, "Yo, this was actually pretty impactful because it affected how much mana you start with or something when you get the upgrade."
I think that's what it was. I think it was when you come out with the level 1 upgrade, you have either 1 rejuve or 2 rejuves. It was some threshold, right? You get 1 or 2, um, versus 0 or 1, whatever it was. So, it was like it's a big deal in terms of defending your base, essentially, because bears that are coming out are essentially twice
Right, right, yeah,
as
yeah.
effective when it comes to spell casting. So, like, that's a big deal, but when you think about it from, like, you wouldn't even think of that as a lower level player, like, do you
Yeah.
even does that thought even cross your head at 1,400 MMR that you get an extra rejuve? Like, no.
How many cats do you have? I thought you
I
had one and then I realized you have at least two.
I have 2. One's back here. I'll move my mic, you can see her. She's
Yeah,
on the couch.
she's real cute.
And then one's right here.
She's been chilling
He's
there for a while.
yeah, they're very different. She chills, and he is always up in my space.
Okay, so we've been doing this for 2 hours. I think what would be great is if anyone has any questions, let's just answer questions and then call it a success. You know,
Yeah, it's kinda crazy when you start drinking whiskey, you
dude,
start
it
just
went by
talking,
so fast.
and then 3 hours pass
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah, definitely.
Kaiser, do you have any plans moving forward participating in War 3 since ESL no longer gives tournaments? That's kinda what Fight Night is. So, um, Fight Night was my idea for and we talked about this earlier in the stream of I've done ESL, I've done DreamHack, I've done Back to Warcraft. Uh, what's next, right? So right now I'm trying to figure out something to do, and GNL is amazing, right? Because all the players are willing to do something like Fight Night. Um, so right now Fight Night is next, and after that, I don't know. I'll see what feels right. Maybe we keep doing like a show. Maybe we keep doing Fight Night, but it's not GNL based. It's just whoever wants to fight on a Tuesday night. Like maybe we can. Maybe if I can, I'll put it this way: if I
I
could
like
get a
I like the
hundred
Tuesday
dollars in,
nights. I like the Tuesday
yeah,
nights.
if I could get $100 in donations, and Happy and Hitman would be willing to play for $100, why don't we start funding show matches and casting them? Is that possible?
You got. I guess Happy has a minimum to play for.
Does he?
I don't know. I feel like he's like kind of particular, or at least that's what I heard.
Or like, higher level, like Kaiser versus Baron, or you know, something like that, or Alex Chen versus Say So. Like some of the higher level GNL community.
You know, you know what I really like is I like and maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe people disagree, but I like that you do it on like Tuesdays because I love Baron and I've watched his King of the Hill, but I can legit like never participate because it's like Saturday at 12 or something or like 3, and I always have something like going on or like I hang out with my girlfriend on Saturdays or something, and
Yeah.
so I feel like maybe that is the best time for other people, but I feel like the weekends are like can be. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that's a hard time to do that sort of thing, like show matches and community. Like,
Yeah, I picked Tuesday because I do ESL on Mondays with Carson and Forks, so like that wasn't good. Tuesday seems like a day no one else is really streaming anything
right?
like significant besides like maybe like a ladder stream. And like no offense, like ladder streams are great, but it's not like an event. It's just another stream at the end of the day. So I figured Tuesday was like a night nothing's really going on.
Yeah,
We could bring some like excitement to the scene and hopefully we could get like some GNL matches. And so far it's been great. Like we've had 8 so far over the 2 weeks. Hopefully we can keep that going. Hopefully people are excited about it. And I've been getting like messages and interest from a lot of it's from non-GNL
yeah.
matches
All
because
the people Baron excluded, right, Baron?
but which is cool because it's actually kind of interesting because and I tell them this in the chats. I was like, you're not on a team now, but a lot of the coaches show up and they watch this stream, and something the coaches actually use in consideration for bringing people on teams is activeness, right? Like, are you in the Discord? Are you actually active on War 3 Champions? Are you competing? They're going to take that person over somebody who doesn't play, right? So if you're playing on this stream and there's 40 or 80 people watching and you're also playing on War 3 Champions, I think you're putting yourself on top of the list, right? I would think so. So that's kind of what I hope I'm not lying to them. That's what I'm telling them. I'm like, I think you're increasing your chances of getting on a team by doing events like this, right?
Yeah,
Does that sound logical?
I think it's just inclusive at the very least. Like if you
Yeah.
if you you know if there are only so many spots and somebody still wants to play, hey, you can still play. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, they get to play on a cool
I'm on
show.
the wait list. I was like, oh, I want to play on the fight. That sounds sick.
Yeah, they're playing. People are watching. The coaches are there. The players are there. Everyone's having a good time. And when it comes for, I'll tell you this, right? If 1,000 MMR player opened up, how many of our coaches would think about immolation? He's played twice now. His name comes up all the time in the Discord.
Right, right.
Playing on War 3 Champions. How many people are going to think about him first when they look at the wait list and say we need 1,000 MMR fill in? I would think that's a decent chance, right? I would think. Unfortunately, Oxygen's in the chat. Oxygen, I told you this last week. You're way too humble. You're way better than you think you are. I don't know how many like 1650, 1700 level positions there are in GNL. I,
Yeah,
I
that's
know
pretty
like
high.
I know like Angry like you're at the top, man. Like if GNL, you're
Yeah,
near the top. You really are.
you're no longer a
Like,
noob.
yeah, you're not a noob, man. Like Sav's a good player, man. He's like 1560. He's getting into 1600 territory and then you beat him 2-0, right? So, I mean, there's not much higher for you to climb in GNL. It's going to be tough for someone like Oxygen to get on a team. You're not a noob, man. You got everything together. You know what's going on in the games for sure.
I have a small question. It might be an unfair question, so you don't have to answer. But
Sure.
do you have any favorite like gym personalities? Because I feel like in the I haven't been super active lately, but the gym, you got these people posting weird things. I have my favorites. I like Phonics. I
I'll
like
tell you what
Kaiser. I laugh every time Kaiser posts something. Maybe every other time.
Kaiser's incredible because he doesn't take himself or anything seriously. He's in it for the memes, he's in it for the laughs. I love it. Baron's awesome because he's just been so like helpful, I guess, through everything. If you want to talk serious with him, he'll talk serious. If you want to talk memes, he'll talk memes. Like he's very adaptable. I've been loving. I hope he's not listening right now, and I hope he doesn't take this the wrong way. Prism, man. Prism's been raging in the bitching chamber lately, and I just relate to it, man. I see myself. I see my
I gotta
inner
check this out.
rage. Yeah, I see my inner rage within Prism. Like when I'm in the moment and I lose 4 times in a row to Farseer Headhunters, like I have those same thoughts of like I'm done with Warcraft 3. I'm uninstalling. I'm never playing this shit game again. And then when I see someone else feel the same way, it validates your anger, I guess.
Yeah,
Does
yeah.
that make sense? So I've been I hate to
We could
say
do
I
we could do a little
it
theater. All caps, every fucking game. I take this fucking bullshit on. I fucking quit. GG fuck WV3. I love it.
yeah, I posted the Emperor from Star Wars in there too, like let the hate flow through you type of thing. Like and I only say that because I've been there too many times. But you know, everyone in there is great, man. Like it's a very active community, and I'll tell you what the real best part is if you want to play a game with I don't know, does he call himself Phonix or Phoenix or whatever
I don't
or
really know.
or Nega Nebulous or like Monk, probably even Todd. I mean, I don't know so much about Todd,
I love
but
it when Todd posts in gym. It's
yeah,
always a
but
shit post.
yeah, but more so like if you want to actually like practice with them, they're gonna stomp you out, like, and it kinda sucks because, like, I'll play versus, like, Phonix or Nega Nebulous, and I just get, like, rocked, right? Like, it's not even close. But, like, what's really great about after that, like, after you get stomped out, is they'll tell you what you did wrong, and, like, you can ask them and have, like, a real honest conversation about what you can be doing better, and I think it really does help make you better, and these guys have no, like, incentive to play with 1,300 level, 1,400 level players. These guys are, like, 18, some of them even 2,000 level players,
I don't
like,
know.
what do they have
I think
what do they have to gain?
Monk feels his immortality every time he defeats a 1300 level player. He gets like 1 hour on his life, and so that's why he's in the chat the whole time because he's really just building up his.
And maybe Kaiser's right, like, maybe there is some satisfaction from beating you up, but basically what I'm trying to give him props, right? Like, I'm trying to say, like, I think a lot of this is done out of like trying to help you learn and getting enjoyment out of seeing people get better because there is like real genuine like satisfaction out of that to say like, hey, I gave this guy advice and I've been working with him for like I don't know 5 games right over the week and he went from being able to be a surefire loss against this guy and he beat him 2-0, right? Like that's cool. That's really neat to say like this guy went from he had a 0% chance of winning, and then he 2-0'd his opponent. And then he takes that into War 3 Champions, and then he went from 1,300 to 1,450, right? Like, that's pretty damn cool. So it's really neat to see, like, people in GNL who actually, like, get enjoyment out of that and get satisfaction out of that to help, like, really low-level players get better because it's hard. Like, there's not a lot of resources out there. It's not like Dota or League of Legends or something like that where there's 600,000 videos you can watch and streamers with 200,000 viewers you can watch. It's a very niche community like we've said before and to have like these guys kind of in there being willing to help you out, tell you the knowledge that they knew 5 years ago that they're now passing on to you now and this knowledge that's been around for like over a decade.
It's super helpful too because it's
It,
like
it is.
there's no other way to learn it, and they're just like, oh yeah, this is what you do. Like, oh,
Right.
okay, all
And you
right,
would have
that's
no
easy.
clue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 1,300, you're like, "How do I possibly beat this?" And then they go, "Oh, just do this." And then all of a sudden, like, it's like an enlightenment. It's like when I used to struggle against undead so much, and all of a sudden when I figured out, like, what to actually do, at my level at least, I'm like I sometimes I just steamroll over undead at the 1350, 1400 level because I'm showing up with 4 to 5 knights and 8 gyros when they have 3 fiends and 2 destroyers, right?
You
And they get
achieved
they
Humba.
get rickrolled.
You achieved
Well,
Humba.
Right, and then I'm watching my knights, like, a single auto attack from a knight is chunking, like, 25% of their health pool. I'm like, "Holy shit, like, this is nuts." And then, try hero, pally, MK, archmage, right? Like, if you could just get that roll, and now I understand why they call it the auto attack army, right? Like, you literally can just, like, A click, and if you have a supply advantage, you're probably gonna win. But now, like, my next big struggle is Farseer Headhunters. Like, it hurts. Like, it's pretty brutal to deal with in the early game, and it really feels like that you're losing to opponents who aren't as good as you. That's not the case, right? Like, it's honestly not the case, but it feels like it when you're playing it, because when they show up with 5 headhunters and you have 4 footies, like, shit, man, like, how do I possibly defend against this? They just have so much damage. I don't know what to do, right? And then there are strategies to beat it, and you can see it, in top level games.
Wait, what do you mean what does soft teeth mean? Hold up. Oh, because of lack of... Dude, this Taco Bell is like all cheese. Come on, you can't say there's lack of calcium. All right, sorry. I had to respond to Kaiser.
Yeah, man. That, like I said before, they're all these guys are incredible. It's a really great community. I can't say it enough. They're very welcoming. The memes are going on, so you gotta have some skin, right? You can't have super thin skin and get in there and expect to be catered to. You gotta have some thick
Yeah,
skin in
yeah.
there.
You
But
gotta have a little
but
bit of
if
thick skin for sure.
yeah, but if you got that, and you could get on everybody's wavelength, it's an incredible community to be in. Everyone's very, very. I'll tell you this: some they're not going to hold your hand, right? No one's gonna sit in there and like reach out to you and say, "Hey, I noticed you were losing to Farseer headhunters all the time. I would really love to. I'd really love to train with you." Like, no one's ever gonna do that ever, and nor should you expect them to do that. But like, if you reach out and you say, "Hey, I'm struggling with this matchup. Here's my past 3 replays of like why I've struggled." They'll actually watch your replays. They'll watch your replays and give you like feedback. It's crazy. Like, they'll take 25 minutes out of their day and watch your replays and give you honest feedback. That's incredible. What else can you ask for?
That should be like an ad. Like, Bars here, Headhunter getting you down.
It's true. I mean,
Call 1-800-Kaiser today.
it's a rough matchup, but it's one of those matchups where you feel your back's against the wall for like most of the matchup until you finally cross that threshold, and then you can kind of like you can finally get that steamroll over them. But like for 80 to 90% of the matchup, you're playing against the wall, just trying to survive. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like, at least. But yeah, man, that's my spiel about Gym. Incredible community. Get in there. Don't go in there expecting your hand to get held or people to just like reach out to you. Come in there with a plan, with things you want to improve on, matchups you're
Yes.
struggling with. Be actually like reasonable. Don't tilt,
Alexa,
and just like ask honest opinions.
fart.
And they're gonna be pretty helpful. Honestly, like, Hipposaur was one of the first people I kind of worked with back when I first started here. And this guy like played like 5 or 6 games with me. I mean, he steamrolled me as Undead, but he's like, I told him, I was like, I'm struggling against Undead. Undead's my matchup, and he just beat my ass like 5 times in a row with Undead. And he just told me after every game like all the dumb shit I did. And then sure enough, I corrected it all and I won my next matchup. So it was really helpful.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. While you're saying that, I was like clicking around. I realized my mute button wasn't working, and I was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ! I've been coughing, and I haven't been muted. I thought I was, I thought I was muted." And I clicked something that Freeman posted in the off-topic channel that says Alexa farts on multiple echoes. And so in the middle
What
of you
is this?
saying that, it just like full volume played that video, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, what is what?" Like, I had no
Let
idea
me
what
hear
was
this.
going on. That's not good. It's not good. It was bad. It was real bad.
I just heard
Yeah.
it. That's
Like,
awesome.
sorry. Anyway,
Oh, man.
that's great.
Well, this was incredible. I think I went through
I think we got
this is
everything.
empty. I think I went through 4 of these,
We went through
and
4 glasses of whiskey.
these are pretty filled. Yeah, well, I can drink a lot of whiskey.
Damn. I
That's
think
for
I think
sure.
I had about 4 shots of rum, but I'm a lightweight because I don't actually drink that much.
Oh, I'm gonna go pour a couple more of these before bed.
But you don't even you're this is crazy, man.
Oh,
You're
this is an
sober.
appetizer. This
It's
is
an
an appetizer.
appetizer, yeah.
I I could cast DreamHack right now. I'm ready to go.
Yeah. I love it. All right. I guess we're at using a little time. What is it? 2 hours and basically 2 hours and 30 minutes. Thank you so much for joining OC Drummer. If you're watching on YouTube, on Twitch, check him out on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, which he hates. That we hate that he learns. We learned that he hates Twitter. Forced to
Yeah.
use it by Baron.
Yeah, Baron told me to get the Twitter and I was very reluctant, but you know, it's a evil necessity of the social media life.
It is. So yeah, I'm gonna post you right after things. Do you have any final words, any life tips or anything? Anything to what's coming next other than fight night? Anything you want to talk about?
Join the Warcraft 3 gym, so warcraft-gym.com. Like I said, if you love Warcraft 3, you want to actually play against people of similar skills and learn and get better. It's an incredible community to be in. And on top of that, if you want to see some great casts Tuesday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific, come by to my Twitch channel at theOCdrummer, twitch.tv/theOCdrummer, where we're doing a DreamHack style approach to GNL matchups. So we'll have webcams, we'll have winner interviews, we'll have matchups all the way from 900 MMR up to 1700 MMR. If you're interested in competing, join the community, reach out to me, sign up on the sign up sheet. Would be happy to have you in a matchup. Um, we're trying to get as many GNL matches on that day as possible, but every week is different. Every week, everybody has different availabilities. So, what we end up doing sometimes is people who are on the bullpen or people who are not on a team yet, or sorry, that is the bullpen, or people who are not playing that week but are on a team. It gives them an opportunity to play that week in front of a decent sized crowd. We pull like 40, anywhere to 40 to 60 to 80, depending on the time of the night and who else is streaming that night. It's a great time. People come in. Everyone really enjoys the games. It's a great time. And then on top of that, you have GNL coaches and community watching the games as well. They're going to give you advice. If they love your games, they're probably going to reach out and say, "Hey, that was a great game. You should have done this." And it gives you just kind of like your foot in the door if you're trying to get into GNL onto a team. It's definitely a great way to get your foot in the door to be able to showcase that you do care about the game and you want to keep going and you're improving week over week. That's what everybody's looking for. We want people who are active. We want people who care about the game, who are actually going to put their best foot forward, bring good matches week over week. That's what GNL is all about. So get on in there, get on fight night. Thank you so much, BladeMasterRUSH. Good
Yeah,
luck
thank
with
you.
your good luck with your YouTube content.
Yeah.
Your videos are popping off. The concerts you've been filming and everything like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
best of luck, man.
Yeah, I'm doing that for a little bit. I'm trying to get a job from it, and then I'll be back to Warcraft a bit more. But yeah, it is what it is, you know?
Warcraft's like that crazy ex-girlfriend from years ago
Yeah,
you always go
always
back
comes
to,
back.
right?
Yeah, exactly. All right, I think we're gonna raid Forks because
Nice. Nice.
it's between Forks and Todd. And while I love Todd, he also has a lot of viewers. And everyone watching now might already also be watching Todd. So let's go to Forks.
Yeah, Forks is great. He's
Yeah, I love
if
that
you
guy.
Yeah, if you speak Portuguese, he's always doing Portuguese casts on Monday nights on for ESL Cups and any tournaments. So if you speak Portuguese, definitely check him out.
Yeah, if you speak Portuguese, he's definitely your guy. And you like Warcraft. He's playing Age of Empires 4, right? Have you played Age of Empires 4 yet?
I played the beta. It was cool, but
Yeah.
I don't know, like I've tried StarCraft, I've tried other RTSs, sorry. I don't know. I don't know what it is about Warcraft 3. Maybe it's the heroes, maybe it's like there's something in there that I just like about Warcraft 3, and I hope Frost Giant and whoever else is working on like a big RTS.
Yeah, I hope they add heroes, dude.
I hope they have like a similar formula because I always find myself coming back to Warcraft 3 because of just that magical formula they've locked down. The combination of everything just seems to, it just hits it just right.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. All right, let's go over to Forks. Thanks for watching, guys. You're all beautiful.
Thanks, everyone.
And I'm going to click raid.